Hello, friends, and welcome to another exciting episode of All New Snap Judgments. This is apparently episode 66. I have officially lost count, and you might notice that I am Glazer, not the great Roy Rogers. I am joined instead by the one and only GunnyT, and that's what the T stands for, one and only. How you doing, Gunny?
I'm doing fantastic. It's so great to hang out with you, and our two guests tonight are some of my favorite people in Marvel Snap. So it is so great to be on this cast tonight with such amazing folks, and I'm excited to spend my evening speaking with all of you and to all of our amazing listeners.
Awesome. Since you started introducing our guests, let's start with the man who comes on every time there's a new season in Marvel Snap because he is the king of new Marvel Snap card content. He's no longer the new Barry. Drew Barry is the Octy, the old Docty. It's Docty. How you doing, Docty?
I'm doing good. You're getting pretty creative with the names over here. I'm doing great, though.
I'm pretty happy because I just made that up on the spot. How can our friends find your great content?
On YouTube at Docty_snap.
Cool. Nice and simple, right? Make sure you check him out. He does. Oh, God. We have to do a video soon, don't we? Docty is an amazing content creator, and he does the best new Marvel Snap card content in the game. Also, by the way, Docty, I didn't tell you this, but next month we have your competition on with you. It's going to be you, me, and Rez Snapper.
Nobody's foes, everybody's friends. That's going to be a good episode. That'll be fun.
I 1,000% agree. Someone was like, "Is that person your competition?" I was like, "I don't actually. Actually, I think it was a conversation with Gunny. I was like, I don't actually think I believe in competition. Like, we all lift each other up, and if the game has more views, then we all get more views."
Yeah.
Speaking of, it's the best Marvel Snap podcaster in the game. No, I am not. No, Roy is not. No, Gunny is not. No, Cam Best is not. No, Cozy and Alex are not. It's Joe of Snap Decisions. How you doing?
Wow, that is a heck of an intro to live up to. Thank you so much. I'm doing awesome. I'm having fun. I'm loving this season so far. One of my favorite characters in Marvel, Symbiote Spider-Man, and it took me back to so many books and stuff that I read. But yeah, it's great, man. Docty, I feel like I was just talking to. Actually, I was this past week. So yeah, it's great, man. I thank you so much for having me. I'm very happy to be here.
And I know you listeners can't see him, but we are able to see webcams here. And Joe, you look fantastic. How's recovery from the surgery going? You just look so good and slim and healthy.
Very well. I'm down about 56 pounds.
That's awesome.
Shit, that's more than Docty weighs.
I'm I'm not fitting in anything anymore. Like all my pants. Someone told me at work today, like, yeah, you need to buy yourself some new pants. I'm like, yeah, I know. No, I'm doing well. I'm at the point now. I think I'm 10 weeks. Yeah, 10 weeks beyond. And I'm actually back to eating pretty normal. So
That's awesome.
I actually went over
years back in your life.
Yeah. I went over to local Wegmans. I got myself a little wrap and stuff like that for lunch. So yeah, no, I'm doing really well. I couldn't be going better. No real downfalls at all to it. And yeah, it's like a new me. I have a lot of energy. I'm able to walk around a lot more and stuff like that. So a couple months, get back to a gym, and yeah, I'm doing great. Thank you for asking.
And hey, just for the record, that's not from the surgery. That's because he had a wrap from Wegmans. Wegmans, hit us up. We're sponsored. We'll take your sponsorship.
They're so good.
They're so good. They're the only supermarket I go to too.
But so good.
All right, Joe. We didn't actually tell our friends how they could find you, if you're willing.
Well, I do have a YouTube channel where I have most of my guests on. So it's Snap Decisions on YouTube or Snap Decisions 53 on the X. You can check me out there, and all of your audio platforms, basically Spotify, Apple, all the other ones that Spotify distributes it to. So pretty much anywhere on audio, which I know a lot of people still listen to me on, and I 100% appreciate it. So yeah, that's about it.
Joe is also a member of the Snap Judgments Podcasting Network. Yep. Lauren will set up the feed for that at some point, but there will be multiple awesome Marvel Snap podcasts all in one spot coming your way very, very soon. Gunny, I'm not introducing you again.
Okay.
This is I was going to be like, hey, can people still sign up for Snap Judgments League? And then I realized that because they have one more day, it's a big thing in the video I'm recording for tomorrow/Friday. It is Saturday that this goes live, though, and entrance closed on Friday.
Yep.
Aren't you sad for all these wonderful people who missed hearing you and then immediately going to sign up for the Snap Judgments League?
I mean, if they sign up, I can always put them into a pod. I mean,
There you-
I'll take people. It's just going to be manual from that point, so they can still come into the Discord. Come find me at GunnyT on the Discord there, and I'll put them in. It's just I need time to put people in the pods. So after a certain point, I cut off like open registration, but I definitely add people in manually myself on the weekend.
You heard it here first. If you would like to join the Snap Judgments League, it is not too late, and you get the joy of making Gunny do extra work. That has been my entire friendship with Gunny thus far, finding ways to make him do extra work. So the other day he was like, can we do anything that doesn't become a huge ordeal? And I was like, no, I don't think so.
I mean, I'm already pushing you for Pokemon, so
seriously, you've done more work for it. No, that's not true. You've done comparable work for it to this point than I have. Yeah, Gunny's the best. We love Gunny, so like literally love Gunny. He's an amazing human being. If you're interested in checking out more Snap Judgment stuff, don't follow us on Twitter unless you're already addicted to that terrible hellscape. But if you're on there, you might as well follow Snap Judge Cast, where I make cryptic tweets where I say things like, I had a 90% win rate through the 90s, and then don't tell you what deck it is. If you would like to find out what that kind of deck is, make sure you're following on YouTube. It's Snap Judgments Pod at YouTube. That's our main thing. And then we also have a Patreon. We do a bunch of major tournaments. We do exclusive content, all sorts of stuff. And you can get in on the fun starting at only $1 if you're interested. Cool. Ready for main topics, friends?
Let's do it.
Absolutely.
I guess our pre-main topic is general Snap stuff, news, things that are coming. So I want to start with, we're actually going to start with Joe for this. For what do we think Snap Packs are going to be? What are our expectations? Because Snap Packs have been data mined, and Snap Fan, completely unsure how, is claiming that there will be something relating to Snap Packs. I can speak sometimes. Snap Packs live within the next patch. So if that's the case, and the patch is in 2 weeks, just in case anyone doesn't know, this coming Thursday will be an OTA. The week after that should be a patch. Snap Packs, what do we think they're going to be, Joe?
I kind of had this thing. I went back to like Magic for this because I started thinking about, okay, so many people were asking, why not have packs in this game? And I was thinking that when I saw the cards that I couldn't believe were coming into the game, we saw the data mine cards. We saw Uncle Ben, which I'm shocked that's going to make it into the game because I thought that was kind of a meme card. Tombstone, and then there were some symbiotes in there as well. I forget the names of them off the top of my head right now, but I think the way they're going to do it is it's going to be a way where basically we're going to be able to get, it seems like, 2 extra cards whenever they decide to do this. So it's going to be, you're going to, in essence, have a 6-card season where you're going to be able to get these other 2 cards. Now, what I think they're going to be is they're not going to be game-breaking cards. I think they're going to be more like meme cards. And again, go back to Magic being kind of akin to buying packs where maybe you're getting some uncommon cards or some common cards that maybe you wouldn't necessarily use a lot in all the decks. They're just maybe going to do something fun. Like when you look at Uncle Ben, for instance, like if it's the way it's going to be, data mine, he comes in when Spider-Man comes in when Uncle Ben is killed. So if you destroy Uncle Ben, then all of a sudden Spider-Man comes out. People think, well, that's stupid. I mean, not really. Spider-Man will come in and then move a card away from that lane. So, I just think they're going to be little kind of fun things that you'll have as just extra cards. The only thing I really don't know is how they're going to do it. It could be, I'm not too sure. They've already given us like holiday cards. I remember back in the day, they'd give us those on the collection track. So maybe it'll be something like that. I'm sure there'll be some sort of system or a way that they'll have worked out that you'll be able to get these things. I don't know if actually they'll have an opening mechanism, which would be kind of neat. I mean, I kind of do miss that. I mean, Gunny can attest to that from our Magic days. It's always nice to open packs. It's kind of fun. But yeah, that's in essence, that's what I think it is. And I think when I saw those data mine cards, I'm like, yeah, they've got to be snap packs because they're, you're seeing these 2 extra cards in the next 2 seasons. I don't know if they're going to do it all the time. But that's kind of my like general thought about it. I just don't know exactly or can pinpoint exactly how they're going to go about doing it. But I think that's kind of what it's going to be.
Good take. Docty, follow it. You have to unmute first, my friend.
That's a hard one to follow up. But I'm excited for any new feature that you can get cards through besides just paying 6,000 tokens or opening them with keys, like how we got Cassandra Nova through the diner. So if they're testing out different ways to get cards, whether it's opening the card pack and it's going to visually be a card pack, which I really enjoyed when I used to play a lot of Hearthstone, like just opening the packs in game. The animations were really good, so we'll see how they do it and what the animation and feel is. But I think it's going to be a good feature. If it has new cards you can get, I think people are going to go to play it or utilize it. However it works, however it's maybe kind of monetized, I think people are going to try it out, and I'm excited for it.
All right, so I have an idea here. It kind of goes off of what Joe was saying. So in Magic the Gathering, they have something called the core set that comes out every year. And it's really a way for Magic the Gathering to reprint cards that they want to like keep coming out. So for instance, Negate is a very popular counter spell. It's not very good, but it's something they want to continuously have in play. So the set doesn't generally sell very well because it's honestly a bunch of boring cards.
Sucks.
But
I hated it for draft.
how I think that lines up to snap packs is it's a way for them to introduce boring cards. For instance, High Evo could use a little bump right now. Nobody wants to pay 6,000 tokens or anything or waste a key on a boring vanilla card. But what a fantastic way as a common, maybe in this snap pack, for them to introduce a new vanilla card that can then be buffed by High Evo there. And then maybe too, there's some extra cards that are a little bit better in there. The uncommons, maybe every once in a while you'll get a series 4 or 5 card out of there. That'd be awesome. And then also on top of that, if this is the only way to get those new cards, then maybe some of the more boring cards can come out for like 1,000 tokens, like another way to pull tokens and use your tokens if you need to. That way you can get the cards outside of the packs. So I generally think it's going to be a way for them to just start introducing cards that either don't fit into a season that they have just lined up or that are boring for the game that nobody would really want to pay for, but they still want to put into the game, such as that High Evo thing that I had talked about. They could also possibly introduce some cosmetics in these because it'd be really fun to open. I love having the border options for all the card customizations now. So just stuff like that, a little fun thing to do. I think you're probably going to earn about 1 a month normally, and you could probably have a way to earn more if you either pay for it or you do well in the leagues. Maybe it's a way to push the winners for the leagues. They earn a pack or something. So yeah, it's always cool whenever there's an idea of getting new and fresh things in the game.
I have one very big hope for them. I haven't talked about it in a long time, but it's never stopped bothering me. I hope that there's Series 3 cards in them that can help people that are on the Series 3 track get through that part of the game more quickly. I think that would be absolutely huge for the game.
Yeah, especially if it's a variant or something.
I want base cards. Like
I
want people to be able to get through Series 3 sooner. If you get the variant, you still have to open it, and then the Series 3 slog is still 8 bajillion years. And like, I keep being told, I don't know what their metrics say, but I would assume, since my viewers keep telling me that a lot of people are falling off as they get like toward the end of Series 3 because they just get frustrated. If their metrics are telling them something similar, it would not shock me if that were really what this is for. We know that there's data mined a pity timer for getting a new Series 5 card in these. How do I put this? I don't expect that to be more common than getting 3 or 4 spotlight keys. I don't think they're in the market to make the game significantly cheaper for people. I think what they fundamentally want to do is make the game feel better for people. Because, well, spotlight keys are really generous, but they require an insane amount of optimization. And I don't think they want that optimization, and opening packs can just sort of get rid of that optimization. They can't just get rid of keys. Part of the problem is, like, I bet you they would just rather just go to this and chuck their spotlight keys. But I got 32 spotlight keys, and you can't just take that away from me. I will go crazy, right? Like, that costs a lot of money and a lot of time and a lot of grinding to get that many keys. So you can't just take away keys. So I don't think we can get rid of the spotlight system, but I do think the pity timer to get a new Series 5 is going to be a really good thing. I just don't expect it to be common. I just expect it to be guaranteed, and that guarantee makes it feel better. I hope they put new cards in it, and I fully expect them at first to put new cards in it, but I think they're going to put fewer and fewer new cards in it because, well, they could release those as Series 4 cards, right, and sell them to us versus packs, unless pack, and if they release a lot of new cards in them long term, I would assume that that means that packs are going to be extremely rare. Because like I just don't think they're in the business of making significantly less money for reasons I'm not crazy about, but reasons nonetheless.
Yeah, that's why I think that that's a place where they're going to put boring cards, right? It's cards they just don't want to release and make you pay for.
So why? So okay, I agree with that to a certain extent, right? But like they need to. Any card they release has a development cycle, even if it's a boring card. That's going to take a bunch of play testing. It's going to take time and effort, basically, from the team. That's not being spent on making them more money. And I don't know what Second Dinner's ever done that suggested to me that that's a thing they're interested in doing.
I think a key to a little bit of the knowledge of this might be the fact too that some of these cards had been sitting in data mines.
Mhm.
And they may be that may be the thing too, is they, like, to Gunny's point a little bit, is like they may have just not known what to do with these cards. And rather than sitting them, leaving them rot where they can never use them in any way, shape, or form, like this could be the one where you might see the Jonah Jameson card, which I would absolutely love. If it does what it says it does, it's a purely cosmetic
What's it
card.
say it does?
He makes your emotes ruder. So yeah. I would absolutely love that. They had a list of what he says. So if something comes out and changes your emotes to when you're playing him, I'd have him in every deck. I think it's hilarious. Even though the card's useless probably with power and stuff, I just think it's fun. So yeah, I mean, I think maybe that they could have, we're also seeing some other cards coming out of that. Like we're seeing Surtur now, which was sitting in the data mines forever as well. So I don't know. Maybe Surtur would be, I don't know. He might be the season pass, though. I'm not really sure. But yeah, I don't know. I just think the fact that maybe they're just taking these cards that languished in nowhere and they didn't really know what to do with them and thought, let's just throw them out there in packs. And, if someone gets them, they get them. It's not going to break the game in any way. It's just kind of a fun card.
So it wouldn't shock me if they did that at first. If that continued long term, I'd be fairly surprised. Like if they just use that to like clear out a backlog of shit that they don't know what to do with, I don't foresee them spending money and developing new versions of things for that. Like that might just be like how they build goodwill for the new system, which they really should have done with Spotlight Keys. But what are you gonna do? Docty, you got something? Go ahead.
Packs can be monetized. I mean, not that everybody needs to pay, but Deadpool's Diner, I didn't really spend gold on it, and a lot of people didn't, but a lot of people did. Like they definitely had people spending gold. Deadpool's Diner, even though it was advertised as a way to get Cassandra Nova for free, and you could get her for free, they made some money off it. It's not like it was just an event that only got players' time and didn't generate any revenue. Like people did spend money. People did spend money to convert to gold and spent some of their saved up gold. And so with packs, you can give out packs kind of on a uncommon or rare basis, but then they're probably going to have methods where you can spend gold to get more packs a month or something. It's not like it's a completely, we're doing this for everybody. We're just going to give out all the cards this way for free. Like they can monetize it as well. So they could keep, putting out new cards that way if they're getting some money from it.
And to your point, if it's like packs, what do people get? All you guys that played Magic know. What do you get when you buy packs? You go into a store and you buy 2-3 packs and you come away with nothing that you want. What are you going to do? You're going to buy more packs. So that's a good point. They could very well do that. Not put like a huge price tag on them, but let's even say they take like a retail cost of packs go for now. Maybe they're $4, $5, $6. Put a retail price on them, and if somebody's looking for that particular card and they don't get it, and they get a border or they get something like GunnyT suggested, they're going to keep trying. So that packs can get addicting, and it's usually a good thing for these games. So,
all right, I feel like
I guess to finish this off, the one thing I am not hoping for is that there is a very good card in the packs.
Yeah.
That makes people have to open it, right?
Yeah.
That would be difficult.
Yeah.
So you can't. I mean, they can, but like people keep being like the Series 5 cards and packs will be exclusive to packs. I've got so many resources. I would be so furious. Like you're punishing your whales at that point.
That's what I mean. Like that would be the worst thing.
You cannot do that. Like they have to. I hope they understand that. But like, if people that have a bajillion resources and it's just like they're useless now, go open packs. Holy shit.
You know that's what they're going to start
The-
with. They're going to piss everybody off and fix it.
Great. All right. Hey, speaking of pissing everyone off and fixing it, the Alliances update. Alliance bounties have, like, the minimum has gone up like tenfold, which is pretty nice in terms of not making them torture, because for a little while, they were torture. What do we think of the Alliances update? Let's start with Joe again.
As so far since I've seen it today, it's better than it was, which I mean isn't saying much. I'm still seeing a lot of the. In fact, I think in mine now that my board when I was choosing them earlier, there was still 4 slots of move the 7 cards. So I don't know. I love alliances. I do, and I know that the people that are in mine are cool. They're working towards stuff and everything like that, and I just wish that I agree with I think what Cam Best he was talking about it, and I agree with what he said. Like the card thing was a cool idea. In fact, I got one kind of out of nowhere. I got a win a game with Galactus, which I was shocked I hadn't seen that, and I'm like, oh, okay, sure, I'll take this one. But all the other ones are like bad card combinations. They're not even cards that necessarily work together, and stuff that you wouldn't even be playing. And most people, what they're doing is they're throwing them in arishem decks. They're just making an arishem list, throwing those 2 cards in the deck, and just figure, I'll probably just either win the game or whatever anyway. Besides them, so yeah, it needed something. They need some variations, and to be honest, I think there could be a lot of things they could do with this. Yeah, you have destroy, you have move, but there's other archetypes too. There you could do bounce a card back to your hand. You could do there's a lot of other things out there they could think of to do. And I don't know, maybe it'll be a continuous thing, and they'll work on it even more. But from the people that are in my group, they're all pretty much saying it. It is getting a little repetitive. It's getting a little bit boring with the missions and stuff. And so yeah, I hope that this alleviates a lot of it and changes it up a little bit. But we'll see. I still think it's going to be a work in progress.
Yeah, I agree that this recent change seems helpful in changing the amount of points you can get as a minimum, and changing the frequency of some of those, card combos ones, which are annoying. People in my alliance are great. They basically carry me every week, help me get the rewards. So I'm usually in like the bottom 5, bottom 10, but I'll go sometimes and just take some of the annoying missions or bounties that I've seen, in the queue for a while that nobody wants, and I'll just kind of take them off the rest of the people's plates. So it has felt kind of like a grind. First week, there are a lot of people really heavy on it. Come second, third week, we definitely had some people that were like, yeah, alliances aren't for me actually, and I don't want to really participate anymore, which is fine. But yeah, it does kind of feel like a grind. So I think the fact that they have already made adjustments pretty quickly, I mean, that's what they promised to us. They said, hey, we're going to release alliances. It's going to be fairly bare bones to start, minimal features. We're going to see the community feedback, see the data, and we're going to adjust as we go forward to, find out what works best. And I think they've been doing that. So, the fact that they made this change now, I think they're kind of keeping their word and following through, that they don't want it to feel horrible, and that they will listen to the community. So I've been happy with how it was released and how they're following up on it.
Okay.
I think alliance bounties are a chore. That's what it really comes down to. I really enjoy the ones where I could just kind of play Marvel Snap, like all the ones win a lane with 4 cards, win a lane with 20 or more power, 10 or less power. Those I could just normally play the game. But yeah, as an alliance leader, I find it like almost my responsibility to clear out the ones that people don't want. So I'll just normally, like, as I see the destroy ones pop up, destroy 8 cards in a game, I'll just start collecting them until I have 3 of those in a row, and I'll play them all at once. If I have the move ones, I'll wait till I get 3 of them, and then I'll play all the move at once. So yeah, I think it's just making me play, and generally, like for the destroy 8 cards, and I literally make a deck full of all 1-drops and to fill every lane, and then I play Killmonger and Destroyer, and I don't win any games on purpose just to clear those bounties out. It's kind of awful. I mean, it gets it done quickly.
I'm over them. They can make it tenfold all they want. I'm so sick of playing those same 3 decks. Like, I do discard ones because I think discard's in a reasonably fun place, but I hate playing Destroy. It was a novelty for like 2 days. I don't enjoy Destroy. If I wanted to play Destroy, I'd be one of those people that plays Infinite Conquest and just grinds Destroy. That's not me. I want to play what I want to play. I want to play some cool decks. And like, once in a blue moon, like, it'll be like, play Mysterio and Sasquatch, and I'll be like, hey, I have a deck for that, and I'll grab it. But like, most of the time I just look at it and go, I don't want to play any of this, and I just close the bounty board. Like, so this is a really, really nice change. And like, we're gonna get a comment that like I'm too down on the game, and I'm not. Like, I actually really love Marvel Snap, but I really love Marvel Snap, and I really don't like the bounty system. I want to play cool decks. I want to play fun decks. I don't want to be like, oh look, I've got to put Mysterio and Dr. Octopus in a deck. Like, what? Why? Why would I want to do that? That's not a thing I want to do. I've got, like, I don't have decks that do that. Why do I want to, like, if move 7 was move 5, we could talk, right? Part of the reason I don't hate discard as much is discard 4. And move 7 is too many. Destroy 8 is 8, right? Is too many. Like, that's obnoxious. Make it destroy 3.
Like, how many times I've played Heimdall knowing it's not going to win me the game just so I can ensure that I'm going to move 7?
And then people emote the shit out of me.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, guys, like, I actually got a DM. I did it against someone who was streaming, and I got a DM going Heimdall Brain. I was like, no, that's not a real deck. It's just trying to move cards. I don't care if I win. I don't have Heimdall Brain. I don't fucking care. I just needed to move 7 cards. I had to move 7 big epic bounties. Like,
I'm sure I confuse the hell out of people whenever I destroy my whole board on turn 6. They're like, what was this guy doing?
Yeah,
they should know. Everybody does it. They gotta know it's for your bounties.
But they don't. I literally get DMs about it. People being like, what are you doing? Like, guys, I'm not gonna be fucking Barzy, but I'm not like, Jesus Christ. Heimdall to like this lane that can't possibly win. Like, what? Like, just, it's like, I don't actually care what people think. It doesn't bother me. But like, it is extraordinarily, amazingly stupid that people cannot seem to gather. Sorry if this is you, but if you see someone doing, like, that's an actual human player doing something that makes no sense except to destroy cards, move cards, or discard cards, you should be able to infer that perhaps they are doing bounties and don't care about winning that game. Like, that's not a complicated thought process. And if you didn't think of that before now, there you go. But like, I just ignore them 90% of the time now. Like, the only reason I did any last week is Corey yelled at me. I had 0 bounty points. I had done 0 bounties, and it was like Friday or Saturday. And Corey was like, dude, you can't do that. And I was like, you're probably right. And I went and got like 2,000 points. And I was like, ugh. And I didn't have fun doing it. And I was like, I don't want to do this. I'm supposed to change alliances this week because I'm going to start cycle through the Snapchat alliances. But I feel guilty because I know I don't want to do bounties. Like, I've heard this said a million places and a million times. So this is not my idea. I'm not taking credit for it. It should be do this or win X Games. And just call it a day, right? Like, move 7 cards in 5 games or win 10 games. And then the problem's solved.
I feel like Hearthstone missions used to have that, like Hearthstone daily missions, and I think someone would be like that. Like, you do this or that. I really like that idea. I think it's smart. It just makes it more flexible and better for everybody.
Yeah, or if you just got points for playing the game in general and completing your daily missions.
Yeah.
I mean, you do. They're just not that much. Or no, now the points are for, right, you get
like
cubes, they get some points, but it's not nearly as much as the bounty points.
No, not a lot at all.
Yeah, it doesn't stack up high.
Yeah, I had like a ridiculous number of cubes and then like very little bounty points. And somebody in my alliance pointed it out, like, I have way more than you, but I have way less cubes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm always near the top, or not always. I'm usually near the top in cubes, and then just chilling with no bounty points. I can win games of Marvel Snap, friends. I just don't want to do it while having to play Deadpool.
Yeah, the bounties give you a lot more points. I mean, I'm looking at mine now. Like, the board has fill all locations 4 times, so that's on there 4 times. The other 2 are move 7 cards twice, and then the other ones are, the one is win a game with Scarlet Witch and Rhino, and the other one is
Cerebro 3, baby.
Right?
Dexter took 8 from me yesterday. From he was playing Magic, And then it was a C3, and I was playing in a flick deck, and I was like, whatever, I got this. And then he played a Rhino, and I was like, oh, all right, well,
There you
enjoy your
go.
8 cubes, my friend. Like, I went to his chat, and I was like, cool. He's like, yeah, this is stupid, but it's working. I was like, hey, have fun, dude.
Maybe he was
That
doing a
is
mission.
great. Yeah, no, it's a cool idea, man. Have fun. Like, this is a game that we should have fun with. When the grind takes over the fun, that's when I start complaining.
Yeah.
All right.
Agreed.
Black Swan and Hell Cow are confirmed as cards that are becoming activate. I'm also going to say Glenn has already said that you cannot activate Black Swan on turn 6 and get the effect, which means Black Swan has to be played prior to turn 5. Let us begin with Joe. What you think?
2 cards that really don't get played very much. If anything, it's going to just have people play them more, I would think. Black Swan was really, ever since she came out, wasn't used a whole lot. Even when Zoo became so popular, it's not something that you see very often. And Hell Cow, yeah, I mean, big stats, but again, it's not, even as the main discard lists that are out there, you don't see it used a lot. It is a bad drawback. So it's very RNG-ish. But yeah, I don't know. I think anytime you change a card, right, and it goes along with when they do the card updates in the patches and stuff like the OTAs, whatever, people will try it because, okay, now it has something different. Now I can target it. I can activate it when I want to, and it'll make it maybe a little bit different. I think that of the 2, I think Black Swan will be the better one. But yeah, that's interesting. I mean, I'll probably give them both a shot in decks that I use. I mean, Hell Cow has some fun variants and stuff like that, and especially that horrid pixel. So, but I don't know. They're kind of underwhelming as the first ones that people would have thought. I know they hinted at it in the notes. But as the first ones that they kind of thought of to do, I think people probably would have had higher expectations than these 2 cards. But I don't know. As a way to start it out, garner some interest in them. It's okay. I mean, I'm not super excited about either one of them, but I'll probably give them a shot and see what happens.
Yeah, I'm excited to see if they keep their same stats because Black Swan obviously becomes a bit better. You can't play her on turn 6 or even turn 5, right? You'd have to play her before.
Mhm.
But the Hell Cow is a 4/8 that you can just wait until turn 6 to discard. I mean, I'm not even a discard player, but you can discard and play Hella on the same turn, right? Because you play Hell Cow early, and so you're getting, I mean, that's MODOK power level for 4, and you're choosing when to discard. You don't even need like Invisible Woman to hide your discard. Like, that just makes it so easy to even do a small Hella package. Like, just Hell Cow Hella, even if you miss some of your other draws, or you're worried about discarding Hella, so you don't want to play, your Corvus or something, or MODOK if you don't have Invisible Woman. Like, that seems huge. And to have 8 power to back that up, I am really curious to see. I think Activate makes both these cards a lot better, but I'm really curious to see if they change their stats, because Hell Cow with this 8 power being Activate seems like a bit much. But we'll see what they do. It's going to be good, though. It's significantly better because, especially Hell Cow, right, it removes his drawback if you just wait to discard the cards if you want it. So he's just good power.
Yeah, I mean, Hell Cow's going to be insane. It's a 4/8. It's just a regular that's above curve card that's all, has no drawback unless you push the button. So in index like arishem or something and you generate a Hell Cow, a 4/8 is pretty darn good. But on top of that, like turn 4 Dracula, turn 5 Hell Cow, turn 6 MODOK, and then activate your Hell Cow. Like, you're discarding Apocalypse 3 times. That's a ton of drops there, and plus you still have a little bit of extra energy to play with if you want to get a blade in there or something. So I really think the Hell Cow one in particular. I'm glad that Hella took the nerf that it did, because I could not imagine Hell Cow with a turn 6 Hella coming out. That's just insane.
Won't matter. If okay, I'm working on the theory that the stats have to change for these cards. They have to change for these cards.
I think so. I think it cannot stay a 4/8 Hell Cow.
Like, you can't have a 4/8 Hell Cow. That's just like a flat 4-8 with no downside.
It's got to be like a
right?
4-5 or a
Well,
4-6.
Yeah, so like the stats on Hellcow are because the downside is so strong.
Yeah.
Right? Like, and Black Swan saying you can play this on turn 3 or turn 4 and nothing else doesn't seem like it's it either. They could make it like a 3-7, but that seems unlikely. So my guess was this, we're going to get a 2-3 or 2-4 Black Swan. Like, it's really, really hard for me to imagine that, like, if you don't buy the season pass, and they still have, like, they don't have to, like, do a lot for their free-to-play players, but they also probably don't want to just completely shit on them, right? So, what are they gonna, like, they can't let these cards be bad. They just can't let these cards be bad. And, like, I think Black Swan as a 3-5 activate, that can't be triggered on turn, they can't be triggered if you play her on turn 5 is a bad card. Because I don't know if you know this, but I've played a lot of bounce in my life. And I don't want to play Black Swan on turn 3 or 4. I want to play Black Swan on turn 5. I want the upside of being able to play her on turn 3 or 4. But I don't want to actually have to do that. Now I'd have to do that, and I just don't have the 3. Especially with Beast as a 3-5. I don't have the energy for that. Like, I'd rather just cut the card. I would not play the card. So that card has to change. And then a 4-8 Hellcow is just the best Hella card they've ever printed. Especially because I don't know if you saw this. I don't remember who did it. I'll try and look for it after this. Oh, it was Buddy. You can triple Jubilee now. You can double or triple Jubilee with Symbiote Spider-Man for a Hella deck, so you can like extra super guarantee that you get Hella. And that seems like it might be a bad thing if you also had Hellcow, so you could extra super guarantee that you had all your big cards discarded. So
Yeah, like
I'm
Hella
gonna
Tribunal stuff.
Hella any stuff. Like I think like Hella's like main weakness now, like the nerf wasn't it. I think it's largely that you just because of the nerf you so badly beat Infinite. Infinite's the only thing that's big enough to really make it worth it. But if you can fundamentally guarantee to either hit Infinite with Jubilee or discard Infinite, which I think that this will do, then we need something else, right? Like then like I really hope it's a 4-5. I have a feeling it's going to be a 4-6 and they're going to push it, but I fully expect us to return to the land of Hella for a while. I don't actually care. I beat Hella just fine. But, like, I think that's what's going to happen. I think they change Swan to a 2-something and Hellcow to a 4-something like 5 or 6. I really hope they don't make Hellcow a 5. I think that would also be the
All right. Now let's talk about other cards.
Let's talk about the cards that came out this month, that are coming out this month or came out this month. We got Symbiote Spider-Man first. That is the season pass card for the month. Hopefully you knew that. If you're just opening this podcast and you haven't played Marvel Snap this month, I really appreciate that. Thank you. Symbiote Spider-Man is a 4-6. Activate, merge your lowest cost card here with this. Copy its text like just revealed. Let's reverse order now. We'll do Docty, then Joe for this. Docty, what you think about the symbiote?
Well, I think he's super cool. We were all, excited for Activate. I mean, it's a cool character, but even more than that in terms of Snap, it's a new mechanic. We're excited to know how it works, what it works with. The Activate mechanic works better. It's more flexible than I thought it would be. Originally, I'm like, maybe it's just going to happen like right after the move phase before cards reveal. But you can really, really time it. He works on 6-cost cards because you can choose to place the card, the 6 cost, for example, Doctor Doom, and then you press the activate. So he can, kind of like an Absorbing Man that you played beforehand. So being able to time it like that is really nice. It's flexible. Seems like a lot of fun combos, and people are still experimenting. It's still pretty new. I've been cheesing some people with Galactus because you just have Spider-Man sitting there. You play Galactus, and then once you place him, you press activate on Symbiote Spider-Man. So then, he will re-trigger with an 11-powered Galactus. I mean, there's just some really fun, unique stuff. So I haven't been spamming too many different things, but he's just fun. We'll see what decks go to the top of the meta, but I've been really enjoying this card. I think it's a hit already, just in terms of fun value. But I'll see what Joe thinks.
Yeah, I agree. I've tried it out in a bunch of different. I mean, of course, I had to try it with Galactus. I was like, yeah, this is going to be an 11 power Galactus. So I mean, yeah, for sure, and it works. Glazer, I've been playing the deck you showed. The one with I think it was a couple days ago when you
Hmm.
had
Hmm.
Sage is in it, and oh my gosh, that deck has Namora and Sage. So many lines you could win with in that deck.
The Avazord
That's
version, yeah.
Oh, it's fantastic. And then you got the Galactus line in on top of it, so that's amazing. Yeah, I love the card. I kind of thought I would when I saw it, and not just because of the fact that it's a new mechanic. It's the first card with that and stuff, but I love Marvel Snap so much for the characters that we get. And once I saw this, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is taking me back to mid to late 80s when I'm reading these comics when Spider-Man first got the black suit from the Secret Wars and all that. And of course, that came out, the variant for that came out yesterday. I was like, oh man. But yeah, I love this card. I think it's a lot of fun. And like Docty mentioned, took a little bit to learn because I messed it up a few times when you play the 6 and you don't put Galactus down first and then activate him after, it won't work. So yeah, it took a little while for you to master it, but it's pretty good. I mean, I've seen people use this for all different things. People are using it for they put a move card with it and just move it around the board. It's been used for a lot of different things in the game, and I think it's fun. I think it's both fun and good all at the same time, which can't really ask for more in a season pass. So yeah, I've been impressed with what I've seen with it so far, and I like it a lot. I think it's a lot of fun.
All right, what do you think about this take? Symbiote Spider-Man is the combo enabler that people wanted Grandmaster to be.
Can I give a take that you're not gonna like?
Sure.
It's way more fun than Grandmaster, but I'm not sure it's way better.
I mean, I think it just so whenever Grandmaster was pushed, I think a lot of people were like, "Oh man, this card's gonna be so great." They were just imagining all the cool combos they could do with it, and then it just never really popped off. I just see Spider-Man having so many different decks that it can go into, and that's really the cool thing. With on reveals being so prevalent in the game, and Spider-Man allowing on reveals to happen again, it just combos with so much stuff. And there's just so many things you can do with it. I've seen it in Nimrod decks. I've seen it in Panther Zola decks. I've seen it in just good stuff decks to double up a cool ability. Doubling it up with a with all kinds of just really random things, and that's like the cool part about Spider-Man, and you can just do it whenever. The only downfall of it is Clog is definitely a thing, and merging it with a rock sucks.
But all of a sudden, no, nothing good happens. I'm not going to make it up. I got someone to merge it with a goblin the other day, or earlier. It was fun.
Or if you can acid arrow, if you get them with acid arrow, that'd be good.
I was playing an Evo deck that was running Green Goblin, and I was like, well, he's got Symbiote Spider-Man and nothing else there. He's very likely to try and activate that after he plays a card. I have Prio. Thank you. I'll take my 3 power. Appreciate it. Yeah, I don't. The card's super duper fun. It's one of the most fun cards they've printed, I think, in quite a while. I think it's good. I think Junk is going to keep it completely in line. And I think it needs to, because I think without Junk, this is probably completely insane. Shadow King doesn't stop it.
Yeah.
So I think because Shadow King doesn't stop it, Junk is the only, real counter here, right? I mean, I guess, Cosmo for the on-reveal stuff, but you can still do move and other shenanigans and so on.
I think the craziest combo is you only need to play 3 cards. It's Symbiote Spider-Man, Panther, Zola. That's 52 power into 2 lanes, which is insane.
Yeah. Wong Panther Zola does similar enough, though, right?
Yeah, I mean, it does, but it's like...
That's also, there's, I mean, Shuri Nimrod Taskmaster is not 52, but it usually, there's 3 card wins. It's just, and, that combo would still be vulnerable to Sean. I don't think that, I think the actual problem is probably Nimrod, if there were to be a thing, because there's no answer to that. I mean, I guess Armor and Cosmo and hope for the best.
I mean, I watched it happen today. Gregor just did it on stream.
What?
he
The
armored
Nimrod?
he armored the lane that they were gonna destroy their, well, it was Panther Zola, but yeah, they
Yeah.
watched it happen with the Symbiote Spider-Man and just armored it like
Yeah. Like,
GG.
all right, thanks. Yeah. Yeah, that deck is stupid. That's the Barzy deck. I believe, is Barzy still number one? Barzi's probably still number one with that. Maybe he's fallen off that. But I don't know. Again, Symbiote Spider-Man's a blast. The stats in Infinite and in High Infinite are not very good because everyone's just sort of running things that counter it. But don't expect to get this card if you're trying to rank highly and immediately roll with it. But if you're just trying to win some games, if you're trying to get Infinite, you're going to have a lot of success and a lot of fun with this card. And I think that's a good place for a Season Pass card to be.
Also, I think it takes time. Not only are people countering it right now, but it just takes time to find out the best combos and synergies. So his stats will definitely go up after week. We'll see how much it goes up. But yeah, regardless, he's a blast to play.
Agreed. All right. While we're here, any activate thoughts so far?
I don't know if I'm the only one that like activates and then unactivates and activates again because I can't remember if I activated it right.
I've done it.
Like I'm like activate and I'll do some things. I'm like, hold on, wait, did I activate this at the right time?
Yep.
All right, so I push the button again, or like I undo my turn, push the button. Yeah, I have to do it like 3 or 4 times.
Yep. I've done it because that's how I got introduced to the what is it? Does it say unactivate when you have it activated?
Yes, it's deactivate.
Deactivate, right? That's how I got introduced to that.
Yep.
Yeah, I've done the same thing. I get nervous now. Ever since I knew that I messed up with the Galactus one, now I get nervous that I'm not doing it the right way. So yeah, but it's I've done it.
But other than that, I think activate is a really cool mechanic. Like I'm so glad that it follows the old move rules, which is just like it will activate depending on when you push the button, right? So for instance, you play the Galactus. After you've played the Galactus, you push activate.
Mm-hmm.
So the Galactus will reveal face down, he'll flip up, and then it will merge with the Spider-Man.
Yep.
So that's definitely a cool take. I'm glad that they didn't try to make it like new move where it happens first or something.
Oh, I noticed too, one last thing, is I was searching for Symbiote Spider-Man to put him in my deck yesterday. And so I went to the drop down to, filter cards. I saw Unreveal, saw Ongoing, Discard Destroy. They have not yet added Activate to that list. So I'm hoping they add that soon. Just a little UI thing that they don't have the keyword in there for filters yet. I'd have to type it in.
When are we getting Zabu Activate?
They said no. Glenn said they thought of it.
Figure out how to do it.
Never mind.
Yeah, like I would assume it's still coming. They just have to figure out how. Look, give me old Zabu back. Zabu's cool. I like Zabu.
4s suck right now.
4s are absolutely terrible. I was looking at whenever I look through 4s to put in deck, I'm like, I'll just run 3s, thanks.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. You know what they could do? They can make Copycat like a 4/7.
Ooh. That'd be fun.
It's a fairly playable card, right? I think that'd be pretty good. 4/7, 4/8 Copycat. All right. Although then, why would you ever play any other 4 ever? Because the rest are so bad, which is the real problem here. Yeah. I like Activate. I think it's actually really great for the game. I don't love the decision with how, it works on turn 5. I wish they had sort of figured out a way around that, but outside of that, I think it's a home run. Speaking of home runs, it's Silver Sable. You know what card it didn't take any time to figure out what decks it goes in? It's Silver Sable. 1/1 on reveal, steal 2 power from the top card of your opponent's deck.
Oh my god. I hate this card.
You want to go? Go.
Right, I gotta go first. All right. So I was playing. What is the location that doubles up your on reveals?
Carmitage.
That's it. No. So it was doubled the ongoings. What is that one?
Onslaught Citadel.
Yeah,
that's it. Onslaught Citadel.
You
so
beat
someone
me that
played Wong. Then they played Mysterio on the Wong on the Onslaught Citadel.
Mystique on Wong.
Sorry, Mystique. Yep. Played Mystique, and then played Silver Sable. All right. It took a very long time for that to go through.
It's a long animation.
It was a super long animation, and on top of that, I think this was a limbo game. So then on turn 6, they played Odin on top of that and made a Silver Sable that was like 192 or something ridiculous like that.
Did you get that player's name? Because we can send them a season pass.
I did not get their names. This literally, like, every single animation, like shooting the deck twice, doof, 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 doof. It took so long. It took longer than 5 minutes for all of this animation to go, for them to then lose the game.
Well,
I mean, I think they were just trying to achievement unlock. Like, they were just trying to like just do something crazy and silly. But then I beat them. I was like, well, I hope that was worth it.
It was.
Oh my god, it was
worth it for me.
It was so bad. It was so. I'm just like, okay, where's the fast forward? Come on, please.
It's the same thing happens with stupid fucking Panthers. Wong Surfer things. We were just like, oh my god,
that was the longest. It was the longest one ever. It took so long. I've never sat there and watched a turn for so long in my life. It was insane.
When those happen, just concede. So that's what the first one's counting.
That was it. The other lane was players couldn't concede after turn 5.
Oh no, I closed the game and I just come back there. And the game has ended and I'm not kidding. I've done that multiple times. I don't have.
I had to stay in it because I had to beat them. Like, I knew they weren't going to win.
I guess more power to you. But like, I'm just like, swipe up a little bit on my app, close that app, and go do something else. Come back in 10 minutes. The game has lost. I just see the end screen. Like, oh, look at that. Bye.
Insane. Sorry, that was my only take that I have. Other than that, like, people played it against me, and it hasn't really bothered me.
Can I give a take and then you guys can go because it's a bounce card?
Yep.
It's the best one drop in the game. Like, period, bar none. There's a lot of cards that its -2 makes completely useless. And if they still play that card, you got a 1/5, which is the top line stats for 1. And if they don't play that card, you got Spider-Ham. That's what I said before it came out, and then I played it, and it was awesome. It's 100% true. I just beat a Destroy player earlier on my way to Infinite who had a -1 power Deadpool. And it's really fun to watch them try and double -1 power Deadpools.
That goes up, right?
It'll double. It'll double to -2, and say if you hit a human
didn't play it
same thing.
That's what I destroyed it and then never played it again. So I assume so.
That goes up to back to 1, right?
No,
it goes negative.
Yeah, it stays negative. But like Surfer's not super in the meta right now, but Surfer is always a great deck. If you hit a Brood, you basically just destroyed a Brood. Like, they're now surfering to have a base Brood. Like, there's just Iron Man, you're saying -4. There's a lot of really, really good Marvel Snap cards that if you take 2 power off them are useless. Captain Marvel is a fantastic card, but not as a 4/3. Like, there's just a lot of Marvel Snap cards that really, really don't like to get hit by this. And even if you miss those and they just play the card, you just played the best added one in the game. I think this is the best one. I think that this card is going to be a capital P problem when I should probably learn what any of those symbiotes are called. It's not Scorn. What's the bouncy symbiote? Toxin. Thank you. I really need to learn these. I like the original Symbiote Spider-Man Venom stuff, but all the like later symbiote stuff, we're like, oh, look at all the cool colored symbiotes. I'm like, no, thank you. That's not for me. So I don't know who any of those characters are. They're like going to be the only characters in the game where I'm just like, nope, never a single comic. But Toxin, like, I think Toxin, when you have Beast, Toxin, and Falcon for this, and an Activate Black Swan, I feel like Silver Sable might be like a real problem. Right now, it's already the best one drop in the game, though, at least in my opinion.
What if I can't play Bounce? Do I need Silver Sable?
No, but if you're just gonna stick ones in your deck, like if you're just gonna run ones, right? Like, I still think it's best in slot. So the question is, do you need speed? Because I think speed is probably the best in slot 3 right now for at least a lot of decks. But you can like be perfectly fine without that, right? Like, there's a difference. Like, the big question that I have when I recommend cards for people is like, Nocturne was the best in slot 3. And you could replace Nocturne, but it felt significantly worse because Nocturne was so far and away the best 3. Whereas Nocturne like had an argument as the best card in the game. While Speed is the best 3 now, but isn't enough ahead of any other 3 that I actually give a shit when I replace it or when people replace it. I think Sable right now is closer to Speed than Nocturne. Wait for Toxic.
Yeah. I personally love. I haven't played her too much. I played her a little bit. I just picked her up yesterday. Some of the games my opponent didn't play the card that was hit, so hopefully they were good hits. Kind of sucks sometimes not knowing. Kind of like when Iceman used to be popular, and you're like, maybe I got something really good. It really hindered them. It's kind of hard to know. The animations I've been really impressed with on most of their new cards because her ability is fairly simple,
Mhm.
but they've really been doing a great job at the animation. Like the way when you play Sable, she like pulls the top card out, she like shoots it, it turns, she shoots it again, it goes back. Like it just looks good and it helps cards even if they are kind of boring. Speed's the same thing. Like Speed's animation and movement when he's on the board or when you play him looks really cool. So it's kind of a way for them to make these, maybe kind of boring stat sticks come to life and actually feel more fun. So I really enjoy the visuals and yeah, she seems good so far. I don't play much bounce, but I think I'm just gonna play her in some other things as well. She just seems like a nice card to have.
Yeah, I've seen her in decks that I wouldn't have thought I'd see her in. I mean, bounce obviously, but I've seen her in ramp decks, like Sandman type decks as just a 1-drop. I've tried her in ramp decks that I was playing. The Galactus deck that I had with the symbiote in there, I had her in there as a 1-drop. She's just good. I mean, to Glazer's point, it's just a good card. That was a slot you used to reserve for Nebula, or you used to reserve for another pretty good 1-drop like Spider Ham or something. But you know when she's gonna all the cards you guys outlined, I mean, she could just wreck an Iron Man or wreck another card. That's a pretty good thing to have. And a lot of those other conditional ones have to have something happen or
Mhm.
could have something to stop it from happening. Nebula, if somebody plays there, it's not really going to do anything. It's just going to kind of sit there as a 1. So I was kind of surprised. I knew this would be good, and I knew this would be a good bounce card. And Docty and I talked about that when we spoke. I knew this would be good in bounce, but I just didn't think it would be that good all around. But I have to agree with Glazer here. I think it is. You try to go over the list of 1 cards. There are a lot of really good 1 cards out there, but a lot of them have to have actions taken with them in order to get them to work. She doesn't, and I would agree. I think this is right up there. People wanted a good number 1 card. A lot of people were clamoring for it, so you got one. And I think we're going to see a lot of this card. And yeah, it is going to be scary when that Toxin card comes out. Bounce is going to be really, really, really good. So,
What's better, Silver Sable or Nico Minoru?
Better
Mm-hmm.
Sable right now.
yeah, I would agree with that.
I've got the keys in front of me. Should I open for it?
No, you don't like the kind of deck she goes in, and you don't need ones.
You said
Like-
it's the best generic one.
Sure, and I don't think you should open for speed either for the exact same reason.
But
I think if
speed.
it's replaceable and your resources are limited,
Yeah.
then you have to be more selective. If you're swimming in resources, then
Yeah.
obviously you should get every good card. You should have skipped like Hulkling and Fastos and gotten everything else they printed in the past like 4 or 5 months, right? But like because every card they release is good, more or less, and because we know what's coming, which we'll be talking about momentarily, if your resources are limited, I vote you wait unless you love bounce. If you love bounce, go open it. What are we waiting for
Yeah.
and talking about? Nico, Sable, Hood are the 3 1-drops in bounce from now until they print another, right? I'm very curious how long it takes for Bast. Well, look, in yesterday/tomorrow's video, again, it'll be yesterday's video by the time anyone but you 3 hear it. Shuri Enjoyer, you might know this, but Twitter doesn't exist in Brazil anymore, and Shuri Enjoyer is Brazilian. So he sent me a
Don't
Bast
worry,
bounce.
I got it with 1 key.
Oh, okay, well, that's fair.
There you go.
Sent me a Bast bounce list, and Bast with Silver Sable and Hood is insane.
All right, I feel good. Thanks for convincing me.
That
1 key.
literally said not to. It's fine. Let's move on. The cards that come with Silver Sable are Mockingbird and U.S. Agent. We're going to be ranking every card this month, whether old or new. What do we think of Mockingbird and U.S. Agent? We can take
Oh my
a vote, of
god.
course.
Can I start?
Yes.
No.
I
Nope,
love
you
US
can't. Nope.
Agent.
Oh, he's not
I'm doing it
listening.
anyways. Co-host.
One would
Picking
think
up
the
squatter
military
ranks.
person could follow instructions.
No. I think so. US Agent is finding more and more homes for me. I love the card. It's really, really good. And Mockingbird is a no-brainer. Like if you like Silver Sable at all, like you don't have either US Agent or Mockingbird, like I think it's safe to open. US Agent is a good card, and I think obviously Mockingbird's a good card. It's everywhere. But like US Agent is the one that's kind of on the fringe there, and I really do think it's a good card.
Yeah, this seems like, I mean, just for me, I have this as the best spotlight cash week of the
Mhm.
season because Mockingbird is still just insanely good. Sees a ton of play. If you don't have Mockingbird, you should just open this week and try and get Mockingbird. And then US Agent, I agree with Gunny. I enjoy him. He's always been fun. And something that Glazer mentioned in one of his recent videos is that because when US Agent came out, he was the -3 power, and then they buffed him to the -4 like the day before he was out of spotlights, like a couple hours before he left. So a couple more people got in that last second, but for the most part, a lot of people did not get him, and so in the past couple months since he's been out, he hasn't seen a ton of play, and part of that is because a lot of people just don't own him. And so now that we have a chance to pick him up, we're just going to probably see a lot of decks come out that are now running US Agent. A lot of more players are actually able to utilize him and see how powerful he is, because he is. And right now, we have a pretty cheap card meta. We talk about how 4s aren't very good and 3s are just like crazy good. If that switches and we're seeing more like Hella decks or Living Tribunal, US Agent is an absolute powerhouse in big card metas. So it's not even a great meta for him right now. He's good to have in your collection, and I agree he's a fun card. So this is a great spotlight week, honestly.
And really, if you can plan on building around US Agent, like knowing you have sages and you have, other smaller things that can go in that lane, like it's almost a deterrent. Like, all right, I'm going to play my US Agent here. My sage will go there later, and I'm going to win that lane. I can focus on the other lanes. Like that's where it really comes in. Or even if it's held till later in the game where you see where they put the 4, 5s, and 6s, and then you could just drop a huge US Agent there. I mean, 8 to 12 power is ridiculous stats whenever you're looking at a 2, what is that, a 211 if you hit 2 cards, a 215 if you're hitting 3 cards. That's a lot of points.
Yeah, sure. I agree. I think this is very, very good spotlight cash. Yeah, and you guys all made all the points. I mean, US Agent was a lot of people had that whole thing where they just didn't get him, didn't think he was that good. Then, like Docty said, they changed it. Then everybody wanted it. Then everybody got upset that they didn't get it. And he's just a good card. I mean, you mentioned already, you can devastate a tribunal deck with that card. Absolutely, you know where they're going to play. They always signal that one lane they're going into. You play him on that lane, you win. It's that simple. And Mockingbird, what are you going to say about that card? It's been one of the best cards that came out probably, and the 10 really didn't matter. She still played in a lot of decks. See him play in Zoo and just the thena list with Mysterio and all that kind of stuff. So just an amazing card. And then of course Silver Sable. I was lucky enough to one key her as well, so I got lucky this time. The last few have been 4 keys almost every time. But yeah, this is a good week. It really is, especially if you don't have those other 2 cards, and they're fire variants too. I was almost tempted. I love the US Agent variant. I was almost tempted to I'm like, nah, they're too the resources are too hard to get now. I'm like, no, I'm gonna hold on. But yeah, this is a very, very good spotlight week for sure.
I opened for Spotlight US Agent. Luckily, it only took 2, but it's one of those cards that doesn't have another variant besides its first Spotlight.
Yes.
And so I'm still in the market for at least one variant for every card, so I opened for it. So I got Sable on 1 and US Agent on 2, and then I have 2 Mockingbird, so I don't need a third. US Agent's a very good card, but I want to be clear because, like, as we're talking about how good it is, I don't want to make it sound like it's the best card in the game. Mockingbird is the best card in the game, just for the record. But US Agent is a card that is in and out of the meta. It's a very good card, And sometimes you're going to be sad you don't have it, and sometimes it's going to be utterly irrelevant that you don't have it. So you don't have to own US Agent. Like, that's not to say it's not a very good card, but like Marvel Snap is a game full of very good cards. If Arishem taught us nothing else, hopefully it taught us that, right? That Marvel Snap is a game full of very, very good cards. And US Agent is one of those very, very good cards. And sometimes it's a meta card, and sometimes it's a card that will sit in your collection, and you'll go, oh, right, I forgot that existed for a while. So, like, if you want it and you play like specific low-cost decks, it's nice to have, but it's usually not a requirement. But Mockingbird is the best card in Marvel Snap, and Silver Sable is the best one drop in Marvel Snap, and that feels like a week you should open, because like US Agent's more than good enough. It's just not like if you're still earlier on in your collection journey, US Agent's not a card you really need, while Mockingbird is. Yeah, like I'm trying to now that I said the Mockingbird is the best card in Marvel Snap came from my gut, and now I'm just trying to think of a better card, and I think I'm right.
Yeah, it's a great card. It's like I said, it's just so useful in almost anything. People playing in the Thanos decks that are still around have it in there. The Zoo decks have it in there. I mean, there's not too many games that go by when I'm not seeing that card pop up or not expecting it to pop up. It. You see, the Squirrel Girls come out, the Mysterios come out, anything like that. In arishem too. I mean, it's in all the arishem lists. So it's just a great card.
All right. Let us go to the card that's going to de-freaking throne Mockingbird. It's Madam Web. 2/1 ongoing. You can move one of your other cards away from here each turn.
This card scares the hell out of me.
Yep.
It really does. When I saw this, I was like, oh my God, move is going to, all I could think of, because I used to spend my day, when I first started playing the game, I used to spend a lot of time watching Molt, and Molt's like the king of move. And now he doesn't even really do many videos anymore, but I'm like, if anything is going to bring him back to playing full time, it's going to be this card, because this is just sick. Like, you can, anything that goes in there. I mean, a Human Torch, a Vulture, Phoenix Force can use this. This is, to me, just a really, really dangerous card. And I don't know. I think Cam Best mentioned it too on his video when he was talking about it. I mean, what do you do? Like, you're gonna go back to playing Hide the Killmonger with Invisible Woman and stuff like that? Like,
you run Red Guardian in
Red Guardian.
Red Guardian can stop her.
Card.
Yeah, for sure. You're gonna have a lot of Red Guardians out there. But man, the fact that it's ongoing, and they changed this too, I think, didn't they? This wasn't a 2/1 initially. Docty, you probably know that. They changed it.
It was a 3-power, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, this is oh my gosh. You put a Hercules along with that in the deck, and you're just moving out and bouncing back and moving out and bouncing back and it's crazy to me. And I don't like move. Like Gunny mentioned earlier about the bounce deck. I'm the same way with move. It hurts my head when I play a move deck. And so, but man,
not this one. Like, Madam Web's not a hard card to use. Move used to be hard.
Yeah. But yeah, this is a good card. I don't see it having too many drawbacks. But again, yeah, you know, Red Guardian would shut it down. And Red Guardian's going to get played a lot if this gets to be really popular. But yeah, I think this is a good card. Maybe a little too good, but I don't know. I guess we'll have to see.
Yeah, I think this card has crazy potential. You know, the biggest difference between this and like Hercules, I mean, both they do once a turn, but Hercules, you have to have another enabler to move the card into the Hercules lane. And most of the cards that move themselves aren't the ones, or that move something, aren't the ones that benefit from being moved. So it just required more setup, whereas Madam Web is just by far the best enabler we've ever seen in a move deck, because you put the cards that benefit from the move on her, and she will move them. You don't need to do something first like Hercules. You know, you could, like Joe mentioned, you could use her as the enabler to get into the Hercules lane. So I think if you're playing move, you're gonna want this card in every deck. I would be very surprised if it doesn't end up being a staple in move. I'm not sure I agree it's going to be the best card in the game over Mockingbird. Originally, when this card was a 2-cost 3-power data mine for 3 power, I was excited for it just as a good general 2-cost card to go in a lot of things. I think a 2/1 is a tougher sell if you're not playing any, Human Torch or Vulture or anything. And, moving stuff is nice. It's good to surprise your opponents. And, may you get lucky and there's a hard location. But if that happened all the time, War Machine would be the best card in the game if you had hard locations all the time. So I do think she's gonna be actually fairly stuck to move now because of the 1 power. And there's just a lot of good 2-drops out there. I think she's a tougher sell outside of move, but I would be really surprised if she's not just a staple in every move deck. And I think she elevates move. There's definitely gonna be some meta move decks floating around. Maybe the best move has ever been once Madam Web is released, because it's just an insanely powerful enabler.
Get your Shadow Kings ready.
I think that she's also going to go in the Wiccan decks. Like those Wixie deck style decks that run all the 2s and like Kate Bishop and a bunch of 1s and use that as a way to get to Wiccan. I think she goes in those decks. Those decks are really, really vulnerable to clog. That's how I beat them. And I think Madam Web fundamentally solves that problem. I think she goes there in addition to the move decks. But I think she's fairly likely to be great. However, War Machine does exist. And War Machine serves as a shiny metallic reminder that we can be wrong, even when we're very, very confident about how good something can be. Do I think we're wrong? No, but I didn't think we were wrong that time either. So, it's possible this card is completely terrible and unplayable. Do I think that's likely? Of course not. But it's very likely, and it's insanely strong card. Further thoughts? Are we good?
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
I'm pretty good there.
Alright, so the card comes with Goliath and then just an empty 3rd spot. That's weird. Oh wait, no, that's Silk. Excuse me. Sorry. Goliath and Silk. Does anyone have any Goliath thoughts? And like, we can pretend to have Silk thoughts if anyone's really feeling it.
I mean, we're in Goliath meta right now. I think
Mhm.
Goliath, the current stats are higher play rate than Shang-Chi, maybe falling off now as we speak, but that was certainly true as of a couple days ago. So it's still a great card. If you would like Madam Web, getting Goliath does not feel bad. Silk feels terrible.
Yep, I completely agree. No reason to go after Silk. Probably the worst card in spotlights for the
Someone should have
season.
told that to the British. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. Probably the worst card spotlights for the season, except we don't know exactly where the new cards are going to fall, but definitely have existing cards. And I think the variant's okay, but Silk has better variants. I'm loving this Goliath variant. So not only is Goliath just a great card to pick up, but this is a great variant. Not too hyped on the Madam Web variant. Looks very, very similar
Right.
to her base artwork. So it's kind of weird. They're like almost identical. So that's a bit awkward. It's really like just the Goliath and the Goliath variant. So it is a weaker spotlight cash week in my eyes. I think it's near or at the bottom as a whole.
Yeah. I mean, it's funny. The Goliath it almost looks like it's a close-up headshot of the Pandart one. The Pandart one is very similar. The one that's in the album. Yeah, it's very, very similar to it. It almost looks like they just blew it up. But it is cool. Goliath variants are all cool. I'm still sad that I'm missing the one with the smiley face. Maybe they'll put that back in the spotlights at some point. Yeah, I missed that one. I don't know how I did, but I did. But yeah, this is it's underwhelming. I mean, Goliath is big right now, like Gunny said. A lot of people are using it. And yeah, Silk is Silk. I mean, she had her day in the Little Movers deck or in the Silky Smooth decks and stuff, but not really being played all that much anymore. And yeah, that Madam Web, I agree with you, Glazer. I think it's just it doesn't really, or Docty rather, it really doesn't look much different. It looks almost exactly like the other one. So yeah, it's kind of underwhelming unless you need a Goliath. If you need a Goliath, then yeah, worth opening for. But yeah, I agree.
Go get Goliath if you can figure out how to get Mockingbird and Alioth, get Mockingbird and Alioth. If you can only get one, I think get Mockingbird. But I think Madam Web is reasonably likely to be better and go in more decks than, oh my god, Silver Sable. I think Madam Web is going to be a requirement for decks in a way that Silver Sable is not. So, however, US Agent is about 3 shit tons better than Silk. So there's a bit of a give and take. It's one of these 2 weeks I think is the best week. Because I think Madam Web being like, if you're going to play Move from now on, you have to have Madam Web. It's not going to be a replaceable card. And Alioth is like sort of a replaceable card, but kind of not really. While Silver Sable is a replaceable card, but a great one. And Mockingbird is an utterly unreplaceable piece. And US Agent's a very good card. And Silk got power crept right the fuck out of Marvel Snap. So, like, I don't know. These 2 weeks, like, I've gone back and forth 50 times. I think I'm leaning Mockingbird because just, like, take the high upside of the best card in the game over it. Docty?
Yeah, I have previous week is way above this.
Really way, because of Silk?
Well, especially with the existing cards, like Mockingbird plus US Agent is way better than Alioth plus Silk in my mind.
Sure, but because I can't imagine Move without Madam Web, it's hard, you know what I mean?
Yeah, you gotta
Like,
wait and see for the new ones.
Yeah, but you're buying an archetype, right? Like, you know what Madam Web feels kind of like to me? And this is, like, not in power level, but in what it's going to do for the archetype. It feels like MODOK.
Yeah, I can see that. I like that. Like, it really
So,
gives
like,
you more deck options. Like, you need it to build specific decks.
Yeah. Ready to move on to Arana, who is a 1/1 activate. We finally get another activate. Give the next card you play +2 power and move it to the right. Well, hello, Forge Iron Fist.
Yeah,
Docty, I think you should go first.
I know. I talked to Joe a lot about this because I think this card is absurd. I have this, and this is a great month, by the way. The whole season, all of these cards look at a minimum like good or decent with the potential to have multiple really, really strong cards. It's just a really stacked season, it seems like. And even in this stacked season, I have Arana as by far and away my number 1 pick. You know, I could be wrong, but I mean, old Forge. There was a time when Forge was a 1/1 that gave +2 power.
Forge wasn't much of a friend of mine. Sorry, continue.
That's a good song you got. We'll do some karaoke later.
Karaoke is literally my favorite activity. I haven't been more than once since COVID, and it breaks my heart.
That's good to know.
I love karaoke so much. I'm terrible. Who fucking cares?
Exactly. But there was a time when Forge was a 1/1 that gave +2 power, and he got nerfed. He was really good in like bound stuff. He was really good in like Kitty Pryde, Elsa, Angela. You see it a lot in like Destroy. Surfer decks were using him still with like Brood, and he just saw a ton of play. So first of all, just as a base, we have that. We have a 1/1 +2 power. You can't do it on turn 6 because it is activate. So the downside is, you can't do like turn 6 Arana plus Brood, but you could play it on turn 1 and wait until turns 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6 to activate it, assuming Arana doesn't get killed or turned off by Red Guardian. So you can't squeeze in turn 6, but it's more, you can set up better timing if you get out early, better than Forge. So I already just have it as a better Forge just to start. And then on top of that, you can move, which if you're playing in a move deck with like Human Torch, like that's massive, or even Vulture or something. But in non-move decks, you can use it just as a Forge. And every now and then, a move would be the good utility you need. Look at how Nocturne kind of, does a move, and sometimes it's helpful to clear space. Even if you just play Arana 1, Forge 2, turn 3, activate Arana, and then play a Brood. The Brood is 6 power. The 2 Broodlings are 6 power. You then also move the original Brood over to the right. You played it on the left or middle. And so now you've kind of freed up more space. It's not so clunky. And you're dividing the power so it's not all susceptible to Shadow King. Like, I just think this is nuts. I think this is so good. I think it's insanely flexible because move decks love it, obviously. I think Surfer decks pick it up immediately. Anything that's playing Forge, I think you can pick this up. I think even, we'll see if Destroy picks it up. They have a ton of wins already, but I really think this pops off and just goes crazy. The fact you can wait until the perfect turn seems good. Like, it seems insane for one cost.
I'm confused though.
Why are you confused?
Good one, no bounce.
Well, you could have bounced too. So I'm saying everything. I was saying
But
it could be in.
no. But I can't bounce this, or like I don't want to bounce this. I don't understand. Like, why would you print a 1-drop that I can't bounce? Why do they hate me?
It's not for bounce.
But like,
it's not for Glazer. It's for everybody who's like me and Gunny, where the T stands for we don't play bounce, and we're gonna play Arana as our go-to one cost instead. Because I love the fact you can wait until the perfect turn. This pops off for me.
Yeah, I mean, Docty convinced me when he was on my show. There's not much else I could really say. I think it is good. I think the funniest thing about this card so far is how many people are pronouncing the name, which I think is hilarious. I'm hearing so many different things. Arana, Aran, I guess they don't know what the tilde means, but yeah, this is just for all the reasons he just gave. I mean, Forge, like he said, was nerfed because of that. And now you're getting it back and you're getting the capability of moving it. I think he also said when we were talking that even if you use this in a, Surfer he mentioned, but even if you use this in another type of deck where you're just using her activate to give 2 extra power to maybe a bigger card. And then the move to the right even helps you more because let's say your opponent's trying to Shang it. Well, now you can't because it's moving away. So they have to plan for that a little bit too. So yeah, I don't know. All around, I think this is the second 1 card that we're getting this month that just seems really, really good in a lot of different ways. So, and obviously, move, of course, with, as he said as well, with Human Torch, with Vulture, all of that. Again, Phoenix Force. I know, people that are excited that are playing Phoenix Force. They might get some new cards for that deck as well. So, yeah, she's just looks like she's going to be really good. So I would agree with everything Docty said.
This card will be a +1 move to the right.
I don't think so.
I think so.
I think the reason Forge got changed is because bouncing it was too good.
Maybe.
You can't bounce this. I think and the +2, people are going a little crazy with this as a move enabler, and it's a good move enabler for sure. But the only move enabler that actually cares about the +2 is Torch. And the rest are fine with the +2. No cards ooh, +2, I don't know if I want that. But the one that cares about it, the one that scales it is Torch. I fully expect this to go into a lot of decks and be a very good card in a lot of decks, but I don't think it's a problem card. It's a 1/1.
I think with Madam Web and Arana, I don't know if we're going to need to do move bounce anymore. I think you're going to be able to just straight up move stuff.
Sure, maybe. That just straight up move stuff makes it really hard to throw priority.
Okay.
Which is why you're bouncing in the first place, right? Bounce move isn't because you don't have enough move. It's because you really don't want priority in Marvel Snap at the end of your game when you're trying to win with 30 power cards. Shang-Chi and Shadow King just exist a little bit too much for that. And the card Arana really wants is Human Torch, and because that's the one that again doubles and scales and cares about the bouncing, right? An extra 2 power on Dagger's nice, but Dagger's 30 power. An extra 2 power on Vulture's nice, but Vulture's usually 15 to 17 power, right? Those aren't the cards that need it. It's the move they care about, not the +2. Torch is the one that cares about the +2. And Torch is the one that is easy to deal with, right? There's a card that says, I don't even have to predict anything. If you're trying to build a big old Human Torch, I can beat you. Because I don't think these decks have any sort of space for Kyera. So I think Arana is again a very good card. I think it's an excellent card. I think it's going to end up a close to tier 1 card. But I think there's enough incongruity in the parts that it's a step below where you would assume. I think it's going to be a top tier one, and like part of what's going to make it a top tier one is that once you've triggered the move, you super don't care if it itself gets killmongered. But like I almost wonder if after the first little bit of Human Torch, we sort of have to get rid of Human Torch because Killmonger will be everywhere, and this ends up a card that's more like a Surfer and Destroy card. Like, his Destroy fucking loves this. Destroy has a million things that want that +2 in the move. But we'll see. No further thoughts?
Nope, I think we're good.
Yeah.
All right, Arana comes with another one of Marvel Snap's best cards. This is an ugly variant that I have to buy, and I'm very sad about it. It's Sage, and then we have a card that used to be the best in the game, but is now not even top 50, Ms. Marvel.
Talk about a card that fell hard.
Yeah.
Yeah, agreed.
I keep trying to make her good, too.
I mean, I think her Death Knell is the card we're going to talk about after this.
There's just so much clog right now that makes it very hard to miss Marvel as well.
Yeah, but like I think she's a totally like I think she goes from a card that's good but the meta is hostile to a card where the juice is not worth the squeeze once we talk about Scarlet Spider. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think Arana is going to be good enough to open for. If you don't have Sage, I think this is a banger. Miss Marvel's not something you're going to be sad to open, I guess. Like, I think there's going to be a time where Miss Marvel matters again. It's just not right now, and it hasn't been for a while.
I have the same take. I think if you don't own Sage, this is a good week because I expect Ryan to be very good, and Sage is obviously very good. If you don't own Sage, you really need to just look if you want Arana or not, because the Miss Marvel is a bit negligible. If you get it, cool. If you don't get it, you're not missing out. And so it's really weighing on Sage.
Yep, I agree with what everybody said. People that have been talking to me about it said they're going for Sage in this, so because a lot of people just missed it and didn't realize how good it was going to be. So yeah, I
couldn't
agree on all
imagine having
counts.
Miss Sage. My God.
Well, what you're missing is Sage's Leech weeks. There was the 2 weeks of Leech, and that's when Sage was in Spotlight Caches.
Mhm.
So it was like it was actually a really hard call, because if they didn't change Leech from being a 4 that kills on reveals, Sage would have remained a really bad card. I thought I ended up recommending her, but it was hard because like I felt like she was future proof, and I didn't think they could leave Leech, but like they could have, right? They could have just been like Leech.
So you kind of mentioned something really cool there, which is future proof. I really do think Sage is a fantastic card that I do not think is going to see a nerf.
Oh yeah, Sage shouldn't be nerfed at all. It's hard to use. Like, Sage is actually a really skill tested card. I've watched a lot of people make 4 power Sages, and I'm just like, what the fuck are you doing?
And you gotta do the math. Even when she gets big, you have to do some calculations. It's not so simple. And she doesn't tell you the number. I mean,
play the
that,
card.
you don't have to, but I mean, double dino, null, whatever. They tell you the power in hand. You're playing Sage. You do have to figure it out. So people misplay her, and that means she's less likely to just get there.
Play Sage in full lane, win.
I mean, I sort of just do that. Like, I'm just like, this feels like it's probably more than 8. Let's go for it. And then sometimes it's 8, and I'm like, oh man, I guess I could have counted.
All right, what's next?
Wait, no, I want to talk more about Sage.
Okay.
So if Bast actually comes back, then Sage gets a huge buff. Or if Ravonna actually comes back, then Sage gets a huge buff. Sage is very nice right now, but I don't think Sage is a particularly meta card. But I don't think we're far from Sage being a particularly meta card. That's my final Sage thought. If anyone has any follow-up, if not, we can go on.
Nope, I think we're good.
All right. The Ms. Marvel killer, at least in my opinion, Scarlet Spider 4/5. Activate, add an exact clone of this to another location. What do we think of Scarlet Spider, Joe?
I mean, I can't see too many drawbacks about adding another 4/5 somewhere. And again, the fact that it's an activate, you can really only use it on turn 5, turn 6. I mean, you can magic, but But yeah, I mean, look, it's not a premier stat line, obviously, but just the fact that you're getting, technically it's going to be a 410. And we have a lot of crappy 410s you guys mentioned already. So, it's pretty good. And you're gonna be putting it. I wonder if I guess it's just random, right? The location that it's gonna go to. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but I mean, it's going to sit there. You're going to be able to use it. You're going to be able to, activate it when you want to, whether it be the last turn or something like that. And look, just another surprise 5 card in a lane and stuff like that can make the difference of winning and losing games. A lot of times I lose games in this, lose games in Snap by 1 point or 2 points here or there. So yeah, I mean, all around it just seems like it's going to be another good card. Plus, look, who doesn't love the hoodie Spider-Man, man? I call him Kmart Spider-Man because he has, the blue hoodie that he got off the rack there, and obviously Ben Reilly, that whole story. So people hated this whole Clone Saga thing. I actually enjoyed it. I liked reading it. I liked it. I didn't like the whole thing. I'm not gonna say that, right? I didn't like the entire thing, but what I like about it was I like how they went all the way back to a Jackal storyline from when I was reading the books in like the 70s to get this from. And I had to go back and research it. And I'm like, did he really do that or did they write that in? But there was a scene where you saw that little shadow person in the background and stuff like that back in those books. So I was like, wow, okay. They did their research, man. They went all the way back and got it from there. But yeah, it's once you get into all the different clones and Kane and all that stuff, yeah, I lost interest. It got to be a little too weird there. But yeah, I mean, I think it's going to be a good card. For what it is, I think it's going to be so.
Yeah, I'm also excited for this one. 4 and ups are so hard to tell because they can either be really powerful or just really clunky, and juice ain't worth the squeeze. It's a bit tough with the timing since he is activate. Obviously, if you get him out on turn 4, you're good. If you get him out on turn 5, you can look to activate him during the turn 6 phase still. If he comes out on turn 6, he's just 4/5. So you really only have 2 turns where you can play him. So you kind of have to think about that when deck building. If you have a deck where you're trying to do something specific, you need to do something turn 5. Scarlet Spider's going to feel clunky because if you miss that turn 4, you basically have no turn to play him. So it is a bit tough having, I guess Symbiote Spider-Man's a bit like the same thing. But I think he's just decent power to start. He has 10 power over 2 lanes, which is a big plus. He's dodging Shang-Chi. He's powering up multiple lanes. As Glazer said, he's kind of, doing what Miss Marvel can't do right now. Back in the day, you could have had this and Miss Marvel, and that would have gone crazy.
Mm-hmm.
But I think, you can just play him with just Forge or just Arana or both of them, and now you've got a 4/7 that cost. If you just hit him with one thing, he will get a nice boost because, it's kind of like Iron Man where anything you hit him with gets doubled. But he costs the same as Gwenpool, so it's hard to hit him with Gwenpool. It's going to be a bit tough, I think, figuring out how to power him up. I think you're going to want at least one thing in your deck, just a Forge in your deck or just Arana, something that can add power to him if you get the good hit.
Mm-hmm.
If he, on the flip side, if your opponent plays Cassandra Nova, your 4/10 just went to a 4/8, if he was in your deck. So anytime he gets hit with something, it works the same way where you're losing 2. You get hit with Hazmat, there's 2 targets for that. So the cost is going to be hard. It's going to make him a bit more niche. But overall, I am very excited for this card. I think just being able to add 2 decent power things to 2 lanes, it will just be a fairly good, maybe in like a good cards deck, or then some specific combo deck where you just have a Forge or something to power him up.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's going to be a bit of a struggle. I think people might go too all in on trying to power him up. Whereas I think if you just hit him once, with something, then he'll have good enough value there just as a nice 4 cost. But it's tough calling 4 costs right now. It's really tough to predict.
I think this card is overhyped. I think a lot of people are looking at it as a fantastic card. I think it's just okay. The real downfall, I think, of this card is going to be that it goes to a random location. So generally speaking, in Marvel Snap, where one player's winning one location, one player's winning another location, you're fighting for that third location. So if Scarlet Spider does not go where you need to go, man, that's going to feel bad. And all the effort you're going to put into, like Docty was saying, to possibly make this bigger, like say you want to Shuri it to make it 10 power, then move a 10 power over, like you could just be doing other stuff. You could be doing stuff that I think is better. I'd rather honestly be playing some of the 3-drops over Scarlet Spider. I think it's overhyped, and I could be eating my words, but I don't think that it's going to be making the huge splash unless somebody figures out something crazy to do with it that folks are expecting.
It's a Sandman card. I thought, it's a Sandman card. This card goes in Sandman decks. It goes in like the same Sandman Brood decks that run the Strength Pumps. And then sometimes you hit this with Strength Pumps, or the clone gets a pump from Patriot. You've played Sandman, and they can't do much to get power spread out, and you just have an extra big thing that can go across lanes.
I could see the Sandman deck.
That's like, I don't think it goes in a million places. I'm gonna try it in some good stuff shells, just because like 2/3 of Doom for 2/3 of Doom cost is good. And I think if we have any kind of functional Zabu, this is great. But until then, I think this is a Sandman card. Like, Sandman loves this. Like, loves this. If I can go, like, Brood this Sandman, right? Like, I feel pretty good. I can then just play Doom in this and be like, cool. Right? Like, drop Doom first, then activate this, let Doom fill one lane. I got an extra 10 power in that other, like, that just feels good. Just feels good. I think any of those things are perfectly doable and really reasonable. I don't know if it's good in good stuff decks. It's always hard to figure out what's good in good stuff decks, because like you have to be one of the best cards in the game to slot in, because that's what those decks do. I don't know that, right? Like, I don't know how you can until we try it. But any deck that really wants Doom is perfectly fine running this card.
It's a day before my birthday card too, so there you go. I gotta get the birthday card, man.
This would be pretty sweet with Namora.
Yeah, for sure.
I would assume not, but it'd be really, really nice if when you activated it on your turn before it played, it showed you where it was going to play, so you can make decisions based on it. It's probably overpowered.
Definitely not going to happen.
I don't know, man. Hulkling didn't like tell us anything, and then Copycat, which we were all sure was going to tell us, ended up not telling us. They make their own decisions that don't always make a lot of sense to me. Like, Hulkling, to me, should be an easy, obvious beginning of turn, and Copycat can totally have her steal ability if she just shows both players when she's drawn.
Yeah.
But, like, they did neither of those. So, I don't know. Like, maybe this does show you more information, right? Like, they don't always do the thing that we think they're going to do. It's like, you weren't playing the game, but, like, Docty will definitely remember this. I don't know if Joe was around much, but remember when we realized that Spider-Ham showed what it hit, and everyone's brain fell off?
Oh, yeah.
They're like, why doesn't Iceman show? Why doesn't Iceman show it too? Yeah, that was crazy.
Yeah. Like,
and Red Hulk too, when we saw the trailer.
Yeah, because we didn't know. We had no way to know, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, it's sometimes they just make decisions, and it's just like, well, that's not how I would have done that, but here we are. Yeah. All right, what does the Scarlet Spider come with? Scar and White Widow. Jesus Christ! Every single week this month has banger ass cards.
Yeah, it really does.
Yeah. This whole season stacked. I'm telling you, they stacked the whole season.
Yeah.
And I think Scar's kind of funny here because Scarlet Spider's essentially a 410, but he's split up, so he'll never discount Scar. So it's kind of just, usually they synergize.
Maybe they're telling you to get Namora too.
I know, right? Because they usually try to synergize the featured and existing in the new cards. So it's funny these ones almost do, but don't. White Widow obviously still very good, still very strong, just a great choice for a 2 cost. And Scar, I think, is solid. He just gets decent value already. There's so many things that you can get at a discount. Mockingbird at a discount, or just these 3-cost cards that can hit like 10 power. And so I think this is a very good week, and I think I love these variants. I think these are very nice variants. The Scar variant is insane. So I'm excited for this week. I think it's a nice spotlight week, which it's going to be good. It's the last week of the season, so it's ending on a good note.
Yeah, I would agree. White Widow, that's a symbiote White Widow. That's kind of cool, actually. There's nothing you can really say about her. She's really good. I mean, a staple in a lot of decks. If you don't already have it, like Docty said, Scar. If you go back to any of those, and I'll quote the master over there, Gunny with the big dumb idiots deck. Play anything like that, and you want Scar in your deck, you're going to get a really cheap Scar to play. They're fire variants. Even the Scarlet Spider variant's awesome too. So it's another good one. They really are lining up these cards for people to get a hold of if they didn't get them already. But yeah, these are really, really nice variants. I would agree.
It's a decent week. I think probably third best.
I think there's a chance it's first, and there's a chance it's worst. Like if Scarlet Spider is terrible, right? Then all of a sudden everything else looks less good, and Scar is amazing right now, but we're a Mobius meta from it being unplayable. At which point White Widow is great, but like so is Sage, and so is Eliath, and so is Mockingbird. Like so, this is like a volatile as shit week to me. I think Scar is in what I would consider to be the best deck in Marvel Snap right now, though. I think the version that Barzy is playing, and he's got an updated version of it, but it's like 2 cards different. It's got like Shadow King and Juggernaut now, I think.
Yep.
Is it? Okay, good. I wasn't 100%, but like I think that it's the best deck in the game right now. But I think like if sometimes people just decide it's time for Mobius, right? And like if especially if Wixie becomes more popular for whatever reason, maybe something like Arana, not Arana, Madam Web pushes that kind of deck, or whatchamacallit, or Sandman becomes popular, because I don't think that deck has a ton of play into Sandman either.
Yeah.
I could see either of those chasing Scar out of the meta, and then all of a sudden you've got a fairly dead card in Scar, which he has been at several points in his existence, right? And if Scarlet Spider's not good, then you're just getting White Widow, but you could also just be getting Sage, Eliath, or Mockingbird. And but it's possible that doesn't change, and Scar remains in one of the best decks in the game for like 6 months. Extremely high volatility here. White Widow is probably the most important 2 in the game right now.
It's so good.
Yeah,
how many other 2s just straight up win the game?
I mean, sometimes Kate, right? Madam Web.
I guess how many generic 2s just can win the game?
Fair. US Agent, Shadow King. There's a few. Thena. Like 2 is a really,
but
really
all
strong
those like need conditions,
She's definitely top
right?
2. White Widow's definitely top 2.
Yeah.
Or top tier, top 2.
A top tier. So I think there's 3 2s that are just like generically insanely good. And I think any of the 3 can just sort of win the game alone. I think Jeff, Widow, and Kate are like the 2s that if you're just taking a 2 in a deck, you're choosing between those 3. Yeah. And you use them all for slightly different reasons. But I feel like, at least right now, outside of Wiccan decks, I think Kate's only really irreplaceable in Wiccan decks. I think outside of Wiccan decks, White Widow is the most irreplaceable because there's so many different like junk and bounce shells that just like not having her is actually a really, really bad hit.
I mean, sometimes you just play a White Widow into a location with 3 targets in it, and you win that location.
Yeah, look.
Yeah, and if they fill it, you're safe. If they filled, you don't have a goblin stuck. So.
Mm-hmm. Great card. Look, White Widow, and then like being like, well, they're definitely gonna play 1 card there and leave 2, and then just being like, let's Viper that over is one of my favorite plays in Marvel Snap. Right?
Yep, that's fun too.
Yep. Okay.
All right. Are we rating them?
It is time to rank all 13 cards.
Oh man.
All right, let's start. What's better, Symbiote Spider-Man or Silver Sable?
All right.
Let's see.
I'm gonna go Symbiote Spider-Man here. specifically because of how versatile the use is. I think Silver Sable is very good in some decks, but I think Symbiote Spider-Man just has so many decks it's in right now. And that could also just fall off later, but it is such a cool card.
I would say Symbiote Spider-Man's definitely seen more play. The Season Pass card often does, I think. I'd say competitive. Silver Sable, we know, great in bounce, win game in bounce. So I would have her above, even though I think Spider-Man is seeing more play in in more decks. I think it's still being tested out. So I'm not as confident saying he's insanely competitive over Sable, who's more niche.
Joe?
It's a tough one. I mean, I definitely played more Symbiote Spider-Man in various different decks. Whether it's going to last is my question. Because again, like Docty said, people are playing the season pass card. So they're going to be testing it out in a lot of different things. For what she does, the 1/1, I'm going to give a slight edge, I think, to Silver Sable here, but I'm going to go Silver Sable, I think.
Yeah, I don't think it's close. I think it's Silver Sable. I think Symbiote Spider-Man is good, but maybe I'm overweighing the current meta, but in the current meta, I don't think it's close. Junk is, I don't know if Junk is the best thing to be doing, but Junk is one of the 3 or 4 best things to be doing.
Yeah.
And as long as Junk is that good, it's really, really hard for Symbiote Spider-Man to be that good.
And Sable's just quicker to figure out where she works. Yep. It's only been 2 days, and it was just much quicker. So timing wise for us right now, it's a bit easier to say Sable.
Yep. All right, Mockingbird's better than Silver Sable. Anyone want to fight with that?
Nope.
I've heard my number one.
Yeah. Again, probably the best card of Marvel Snap. Seems likely to be number 1 on our list at the end of things. U.S. Agent. All right.
I think worse than Silver Sable. Or sorry, worse than Symbiote Spider-Man.
That's what I was going to ask, because it's not better than Silver Sable. I think that would be the 17th best 2-drop is not better than the single best 1-drop. I don't think. I don't think it's the 17th best 2-drop. It's probably top 10, but
yeah,
close.
I agree with Gunny's take to put it below Symbiote Spider-Man right now.
Sure.
Yep, I would agree with that too.
I think that's probably right, but I'm not confident in it. So I think Derek and Butt keep putting Luke Cage in the meta in really annoying ways to me, because I really am enjoying a lot of Ajax decks right now. But in a completely Luke Cage free meta, I think US Agent is really, really, really strong. There's so a lot of Luke floating now. Luke is starting to float around the top of the Infinite leaderboard, which means it's only a matter of time before it starts to float everywhere else. All right. This is hard. Madam Web.
I think Madam Web goes right below Mockingbird right now. I think Madam Web's going to be nuts. Do you think Madam Web is better or worse than Silver Sable?
It's tough. I'll agree with Gunny's take. It's hard because now we're talking about cards that haven't been released yet, I guess. But I agree. I don't think she's going to be better than Mockingbird, but I think it's possible she elevates move more than Silver Sable elevates bounce. And she just goes crazy in move decks, and she's absolutely needed there. It's a possibility. So I'll agree with Gunny to be below Mockingbird, above Sable.
Yep, I'm gonna just go along with both of you as well. I agree. I said I think that card's gonna be a little bit dangerous. So yeah, I'm gonna stick with the take I had on it.
It's fairly likely we're wrong, but I agree as well. And again, Docty doesn't really call cards broken before they release. I wonder if he remembers the last time he did.
The last time I called a card broken, was it Copycat?
No, before release. It was Sasquatch.
Oh, you're right. It's Sasquatch is not crazy.
Yeah. So that kind of thing. So again, unreleased cards are really, really tough. I'll never put an unreleased card into S tier again. Ever.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. And this card could flop too, yeah.
Yeah. So I have Silver Sable as probably a low A tier, high B tier card. And I'm comfortable putting an unreleased card around that level. So I think Madam Web is probably above Silver Sable for now. But it would in no way shock me if Silver Sable ends up better.
Yeah, I think that's good logic.
Alioth. Below Mockingbird, above Web.
I don't know. I don't know if I think Alioth is better than Madam Web.
Okay, I'll let other people go.
I would, Gunny, I would ask where you would have her, but I would agree with Glazer to have Alioth right below Mockingbird, just kind of specifically to this meta right now. But Gunny, where were you thinking for Alioth?
I think like just one down. I think right below Madam Web. Yeah, I think Alioth comes and goes out of the format. It is, I don't know.
So wait, hang on. The important point. Alioth as a 6/8 came and went out of the format. Pretty much the instant Alioth was buffed to a 6/10 was in the format.
I mean, I think we're just in an Alioth meta right now. That's the reason why the Big Dumb Idiots deck is good right now, just because making big stats go boom beats Alioth. I think as soon as Shang-Chi starts coming back, then that deck doesn't do as well.
Joe, what do you think?
Oh, man. Yeah, I mean, I'm just from my experience, I mean, I use Alioth a lot. And, you know, just even climbing and stuff like that when I was, yeah, I mean, it's just useful against a lot of this stuff. You know, you're talking about the junk decks that are out there, you know, they want to get a big last turn or something like that. You could just ruin it. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, yeah, I'm all on Madam Web as well. It is a tough call. But I think I'd probably put Alioth below Mockingbird here, I think. Could also be because we haven't been able to play test it yet. You know what I mean? Like,
sure.
We're talking about new cards as opposed to old cards, so it's a little bit tough to do because you know what the old cards do. We're so used to it, but you know, I would probably lean towards having Alioth after Mockingbird.
I think Alioth is best in slot as a 6-drop because I don't like Mockingbird as a 6-drop, but is she? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
it depends on the deck, but yeah.
Sure. Like, but even if you're playing Mockingbird on 6, she did, like, unless they played Mobius, she didn't cost you 6.
Right.
Like, Alioth is the only card, I think, in Marvel Snap that when I play on 6, outside of specific situations, I'm really happy to play on 6.
Yeah, spending 6 energy on.
Like, Magneto can win you a game, but, like, it's more situational, right? Doom is sort of being power crept out a little bit. It's still a good card. Ultron is the other one, I guess. It's Ultron and Alioth.
Red Hulk.
No. Not anymore. Like, it's fine. Red Hulk's value has now almost entirely become that people will play to beat Red Hulk, and I can just not play the Red Hulk. Like, I don't actually want to play Red Hulk in the decks that run Red Hulk. I want to play Cannonball or whatever. I don't know. I think Alioth is just really, really strong. And it's hard for me to imagine in a game where doing stuff is so much of Marvel Snap. Like, whether that be like on reveals or whatever, just doing stuff is such an important part of the game. Alioth not being extremely strong. Like, there's very few decks that don't give a shit about Alioth.
Yeah.
I gotta have Alioth number 2 right now. I don't know if he's finishing number 2. It's finishing number 2. I guess we shouldn't gender a cloud of death. But I don't know if it's finishing number 2. But yeah. Silk, last.
Yeah, he's number 13, I think.
Yeah, for sure.
Also the only Series 4.
Series 4 still exists?
There's like 12 cards that you don't want in there, yeah?
And then there's like 60 Series 5 cards or something like.
Yeah, it's snap packs, baby. All right, time for a big fight. Arana.
Yeah. I think it goes either above or below Silver Sable. That's where I'm at.
I'm going to say this. There is almost no way I can put a theoretical one drop ahead of what is right now the best one drop.
Wait, but we have Madam Web above Silver Sable.
Because it's a 2-drop, right? Like there's a direct comparison that has to happen between ones, which it means if Arana is better than Silver Sable, you are saying it is going to be the best 1-cost card in the game.
Yeah.
You think you're very comfortable saying it's going to be the best 1-cost card in the game?
I would
It's
vote
so
to
good.
have her above Madam Web. That's me, and again we'll discuss. But my placing, it's unreleased, so we gotta tick that off. I definitely wouldn't put her above Mockingbird or even Eliath, just based on being unreleased. I would have her above Madam Web. I think Arana is going to be better than Madam Web is going to be, so I'd have her above.
Do you
Madam
think
Web.
it's going to be better than Silver Sable is going to be?
Yeah.
Okay.
But that's me.
I don't, but I can see it. Joe? Joe's very deep in thought. You can't see his face, dear listener.
Joe
But he is
He's
in
the
tank.
philosopher.
He is, as you say it, in the tank.
Yeah, when I have
He's the
the
philosopher.
you know, the chin scratching, you know, that stuff. Yeah, it's
It's tough.
It is tough here because, I mean, the played versus non-played thing is what's getting me, because I know I played Silver Sable and I know how good it is, and you know, and obviously I can't say that it's going to be better than Eliath or Mockingbird, but man, I mean, probably Gunny's take is about the safest one you could say, whether you think it's going to be better than Madam Web or not. And oh boy, that's even tough. I'll say for now that I'm gonna, and mostly I think because Docty just convinced me of it, but I'll say for now that I'm gonna put it ahead of Madam Web.
Right. I have it below Sable, as does Gunny, and 2 of us have it above Madam Web. So can we put it above Sable but below Web?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a nice compromise.
Yeah. Because then I don't have to bother Lauren. So yeah, great.
Sure.
This is the hardest card to rank this month
This
for
is
me.
tough.
I don't
This is
think
tough.
so.
Sage.
I don't think it's hard.
Gunny,
Does
where would
Sage
you
go
have
up?
Sage?
It's above Madam Web.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, below Eliath, above Madam Web.
Mm-hmm.
I don't hate it, but it does.
Sage is so good.
She's good.
It's so good in a lot of places.
Yeah.
And I think it's going to be relevant for a long time. Like anytime like small scalers are relevant, I think Sage is a good card.
Sage is good.
Yeah, Sage has won me a lot of games with that Galactus deck that you had on your show. I especially if you put her in if she goes into a long lane, it's like, holy cow, this card gets big.
That's actually my favorite list. It's not even a Symbiote Spider-Man list. It just runs her with Wong and Odin. And like I just drop her off for like 4 power. And then I'm like, oh look, Wong and Odin are in that lane. Bye.
Yeah, I like
She
playing
just
her
has
in
so many,
Mr.
she has so
Negative
many
too.
applicable places, right? You could just play her in like a normal deck as a 3 power that gets bigger. Play her in a Wong deck where she gets lane winning size.
Yeah.
It's just such a good card.
I don't think you want to play her in regular decks anymore. I think that's what Speed has done. Like I think
maybe.
Speed crept her out of your normal deck because you can play Speed early or late. You can only play her late. Like I think she's Bounce, she's Ravonna, she's Wong, she's Bast.
I guess I've played a lot of Ravonna Sage, and it feels very good to do.
Yeah, super strong. Can't Taskmaster it though. Meh.
But I agree with, I think it was Gunny, to have Sage below Eliath. Does anyone else have a different placement for Sage?
And depending on how Madam Web does, I think it could end up above Sage, but I think right now that's where I'm landing.
I'm with Sage being number 3 for now.
Yeah, that's fine.
Alright, after Sage, we have Ms. Marvel.
Below US Agent.
But above Silver.
Yep.
So we just put her 12, second to bottom?
Yeah, second to bottom.
Yeah, we can just
I don't know if that's true, because... Alright. she represents technically 4 more power than
Then
Scarlet,
Scarlet Spider.
I think Scarlet Spider is better, but I'm not sure.
I agree, but he's the most unknown actually for me this season. I feel like all of the cards, like him and Madam Web, could I feel like they could either both be really good or both like kind of trash.
I mean, you guys know
So,
my take. I think Scarlet Spider is pretty bad, so I
would you have Scarlet
would
Spider above or below Miss Marvel, Gunny?
I would have put it above Miss Marvel just because Miss Marvel's not seeing any play right now, and I don't know if it's going to. At least Scarlet Spider has some potential to see some play.
Yeah, it's like you guys said before, with the meta out there, with the junk meta and everything that we're seeing, it's just almost incredibly difficult to play Ms. Marvel, and it's just, I haven't seen it in forever. So, yeah, I'd probably put her the second from bottom right now anyway.
Or I guess third from bottom?
Is it second from bottom?
Right above Miss Marvel?
Because bottom is Silk.
Silk is last, and then I would probably put her at 12.
So right now we have Miss Marvel at 12. Do you think Scarlet Spider is better or worse than Miss Marvel?
I think right now, and playing this particular current meta, yes, I think Scarlet Spider is better.
Okay. Okay, I can live with that. It's perfectly fine placement. Scar.
This one's tough for me. I think Scar goes right above U.S. Agent.
Yep, that's right. Below Symbiote Spider-Man,
like it.
above U.S. Agent.
Yep, I agree.
I think it's probably better than Symbiote Spider-Man right now, but I don't think that's a real.
Yeah, I don't think Scar's long for the. I think it's gonna end up out of the
Mm-hmm.
meta here within the week.
Yep, that'd be my guess.
It'll come back, but I think it's just a middling card that is good at what it does when it does it.
And I'd like to apologize to Two Ties for hurting his feelings.
And that leaves one last card. Where do we have White Widow? That's a tough
now this
question.
is a tough one.
No, it's not. That's so easy.
Above Eliath, below Mockingbird?
It's either above or below Eliath. That's the only decision to make. It is number 2 or number 3.
I like her number 2.
Number 2,
done.
Yeah.
Easy peasy. White Widow is not it's not better than Mockingbird.
Yeah.
But it's definitely better than Sage, and it's probably better than Eliath. Yeah?
Yeah.
Yep.
Agreed.
So what's our final list, Glazer?
Our final list is number 13 is Silk. Number 12 is Ms. Marvel. Number 11 is Ms. Marvel, but in Scarlet. Number 10 is U.S. Agent. Number 9 is Scar. Number 8 is Symbiote Spider-Man, who will fluctuate wildly throughout the course of his existence, is my prediction. Number 7 is Silver Sable, who is ranked way too low. Number 6 is Arana. Number 5 is Madame Web. Number 4 is Sage. Number 3 is Eliath. Number 2 is White Widow. And number 1 is the best card in Marvel Snap as of today, which is September 5th, 2024. That is Mockingbird.
Well done.
Sounds good to me.
So I think it's reasonably interesting that the top 4, Mockingbird, White Widow, Eliath, and Sage, are all 4 different weeks.
Oh, they know that. They planned that out. They want every week
sure.
to...
But I think it's, whether they planned it or not, I think it's interesting.
Yeah, it is interesting.
It creates interesting decision points. Tension.
Every week has value if you're missing most of the top cards. So tough to plan those resources.
I do not envy non-whales.
Yeah, this is an especially tough month, because it is really stacked. Even the new cards, like I mentioned, some seasons, like last season, it's like, okay, I'm not going to spend on Hulkling if you don't have extra resources. Like it was an easy skip week. Even he was alongside Nimrod and Cannonball, so it was like, okay, we're going to skip the Hulkling week. Like it was an easy decision. This season, there's no easy decision with the existing cards nor the new cards. Everything looks like it has good potential, or is existing cards that is really good in the meta. So it's tough. It's tough to plan out resources here.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Gunny.
It's just tough for someone like myself, where I own every single card in the spotlight besides a brand new card.
So, I think it is fucking ridiculously hilarious that they put Nimrod's in Spotlight, then buffed Atuma to make Nimrod really good, and then released Symbiote Spider-Man to take Atuma out of those exact same decks that it had just come into as a meta card. It's amazing, right? Like, it's like, oh my god, they gave us Atuma. Atuma's so good. Atuma's still in the Scar decks, right? But in the Nimrod decks, it's now Symbiote. Bye, Atuma. It's amazing. I love Marvel Snap so much. It's completely absurd.
Maybe they'll throw us a bone and bring back a diner, and they'll give a free card away so you can have a skip week.
They're gonna give you Nimrod.
Yeah, they give an existing free card, a Series 4, an existing Series 4 card.
They'll give us Uncle Ben. Uncle Ben will be the free card.
Ooh. All right, it is time for a variant of the week. Our variant of the week is Hellcow, because if they make Hellcow a 4/8 activated, it's the best card in Marvel Snap. We don't expect, or it's not the best card. It's still probably not better than Mockingbird, but it's damn close. It's easily the best 4-drop in Marvel Snap.
And discard card.
And discard card in the game. So we're going to talk about the variant of the week, Hellcow, on the theory that it's possibly going to be, by the next time we talk, utterly insane. Utterly insane.
Oh,
man.
All right, please don't unsubscribe. I'm really sorry. It won't happen again. We have 2 people who chose the Dan Hip and 2 people who chose a variant that we'll talk about after the 2 people who talk about the Dan Hip. Discuss. Gunny?
Dan Hip one looks great, man. Dude, like the cow's just jumping out of there. It's a fantastic looking Dan Hip. I don't know. I love Dan Hips. I don't always choose Dan Hip as my favorite variant of the week, but this one in particular, especially for the Hell Cows itself. I don't think Hell Cow has very strong arts for it, but the Dan Hip one is definitely the best.
How dare you? All right, Joe?
Yeah, I chose the Dan Hip one also. I mean, Dan Hip is I love his artwork. The cartoonishness of it, it almost draws it here to make it look like it could be on like a Saturday morning cartoon, which I think is great. And or he looks kind of like a vampire with the cape a little bit too, and the fangs. So yeah, I like this. But I mean, look, the pixel's hilarious. It's just it. People are calling that one the worst pixel that's out there, and but yeah, I love the Dan Hip one. I think it's great.
Yeah, the Hip art is my favorite too. But Docty, tell us about the greatest variant in Marvel Snap.
Well, as Glazer mentioned, this is utterly amazing. This is the this is the
only
divine
one with udders.
It is. This is the divine bovine variant. She's so good. We've got Bessie here, all pixelated with this hilarious stance. What her, the left arm hoof thing is doing, how it's bending. Who knows? Who can tell? Why, all the other Hellcow variants, they're actually in a similar pose to the Dan Hip, where they're kind of coming out. Why this Hellcow, she's just like standing up. Nobody has any idea. But it's hilarious. They have the words, the Hellcow name placed just below the udder, just so you can see everything. See, on the Dan Hip, he covered it. Okay, on this one, they kept it uncensored. So it's hilarious. This and Taco Bell MODOK are my favorite pixels in the game.
Mojo that looks like just the weirdest thing in the world.
Mojo's is also weird.
Yeah,
but I love Taco Bell MODOK. Those are the only pixels I actually use on the card. Like, I have it favorited is the Hellcow and MODOK, I think. So, and we even got the little farmhouse.
The only reason why you're using
the
pixel Hellcow is just to meme on people.
Oh yeah,
well,
of course,
yeah, obviously.
Yeah. So I'm excited if Hellcow becomes meta, and then I can play it, and play the pixel. So pixels, most are like, you're like, oh, it's a pixel, but when they're so bad, they're funny. It's like, really bad movies. They're just so bad. It's actually enjoyable. Then it becomes a good time. So I really enjoy this one.
It is standing in front of a barn, right? That's the
I thought it was a trailer for a long time.
In the background.
It's a good barn. Yeah. It's a nice barn in the back.
It's a nice barn, and it's got a Hellcow out in front. I also like how mean this one looks. The pixel is ugly and mean. It's not cute. Like, the Hip is cute, right? Like, a lot of the others are cute. The Hellcow, no, this is a Hellcow.
The eyes. Look at the eyes.
It is the stuff of nightmares. Let's go.
This looks like an Easter egg Diablo.
You know why the udders?
Diablo.
Yeah, the cow level from Diablo.
You know why the udders show, though? Because if it weren't for the udders and the horns, this would just look like a pit bull.
That's true.
That's true. It would look like a pit bull.
It's glorious. It's so fucking terrible. It's the best variant, possibly in Marvel Snap.
Yeah, possibly.
Like I feel like Deathcock was a direct response to this
Mm.
thing existing.
Right.
Like, how do we top it? And then they failed. All right. We are on to, please remember to follow Snap Decisions 53 on Twitter, and the same thing on YouTube. That is Joe. Joe, what will our friends find if they follow you?
What they'll find is a lot more shows than I actually probably should be doing on occasion and promise to do. But no, I mean, what they'll find is, I have a lot of guests on. I love chatting with as many people as I can. I think it's great. Going forward, I'm going to start having multiple guests on at one time. I think I'm getting all of the Snap
Copyright
on this.
infringement.
Yeah.
Sorry.
All the Snap on this people are going to join me for like a round table on the pod.
Nice.
But yeah, I do. Listen, I just have fun. I mean, you're gonna find somebody who is. I'm a lifelong comic book fan. I love this game. I enjoy it for so many different reasons. Seeing the cars, but it just brings back memories for me. And you could tell that I love what I do. I mean, this past audio pod that I did, I literally did an audiobook reading of a comic book, which I never thought I'd get to do in my entire life,
cool.
but I enjoyed it. But yeah, it's just a person that loves the game, that has a good time. I think I can relate to a lot of people, and I do things a little bit differently. I take from experience that I've had in past jobs and stuff like that, and I kind of put it into it, and I think everybody can kind of feel how I feel about the game. So yeah, that's what you'll get if you come listen to Snap Decisions.
So the content that Snap Decisions most reminds me of is Regis Kilden's. It's got the same warmth and friendliness to it, and just it's very inviting and telling you to come and spend some time together with like a generosity of spirit and a joy that I think is really, really, really welcomed every time I'm on, every time I listen. And Joe releases so much that I did an okay job at keeping up a little bit for the summer, and then immediately drowned. So hey,
Yes.
anyone who keeps up with me, bless you, because like I tried to keep up with Joe. I was like, there's another one, but I'm only halfway through and then I just panicked. But it's genuinely warm and wonderful content, and it doesn't feel like my content. So like I'm not telling you to listen to it if you like me, but if you like Regis, I think you will love Joe.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
I think my biggest hard sell for Joe is like I think
I'm waiting for Gunny. Let's go.
Yeah, I think a lot of players, like to listen to top meta podcasts and people and personalities, but realistically speaking, they're talking to a small audience of players who that really matters to.
Mhm.
If you listen to Joe's podcast, you're going to listen to like what 90% of the players need to hear. Joe's in the trenches. He's seeing the meta around, for the folks that are trying to climb to infinite. He's trying out the new decks, telling you the troubles that he may be having or some of the successes we may be having, and it does feel very personable. Whereas if you like sweating through games and counting all your cubes, then maybe Joe's not for you, although I think he's for everybody. But if you're just like a regular person that wants to like listen to a fun podcast
Joe?
that has like the average Joe, man of the people, I really think like
someone
it's just
you'd like to have a cup of Joe with.
Joe, man.
And realistically, like I can just have Joe on in the background, and it's just like nice, easy listening to, as opposed to like, all right, let me get out a pen and a paper because I need to take notes.
Appreciate that. Thank you so much.
I'll add on one too. I'll add on that of everybody Glazer goes pee. I'll add on that out of everybody in the Snap community, Joe is my favorite person to talk to. I was on his podcast for the second time recently.
Bruh.
And
ask him to do that. Ask him to do that tier list, motherfucker. Sorry. Go ahead.
And I enjoy talking to a lot of people. Glazer will tell you I talk to him a lot. It was just a joy. I was on his podcast for the second time recently, and I was excited for it. I was looking forward to it. He's just so good to sit there. It's very, as Glazer mentioned, a great warm feeling. Pretty calm and friendly, and I just love having Joe in the community.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Joe for president. No, wait, we don't do that. All right. We've got.
I don't want that smoke, man.
Yeah. I broke Docty. He's muted. He just was not expecting that last one. All right. Docty is genuinely the best person I've ever met at analyzing new cards. He understands the theory of the game better than fundamentally anyone. Like, I don't remember what I said last time, so hopefully I'm not repeating, because Docty's on a lot. He does all the new card ones. Because, like, I was having different people on for the new card ones for a really long time, and then I realized that, like, I want to give my audience the best analysis I can, and that means getting Docty on for every single one of these. Because, like, if we're going to talk about new cards every month and speculate about them, you should be watching his content, but if anyone doesn't, then you need to be hearing from the best. And he's, like, without question, the single most consistent, absolute best at this. And, like, I don't think, no offense to the others who do it, who I watch probably more, like, of just random content, right, because I don't like gameplay vids, more new card content than anything else, as I'm trying to, like, figure things out. And I like a lot of the new card content people, but I don't think anyone comes even close to, like, being on Docty's level.
I appreciate that. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I would second that. I refer, it's almost like a part of my show now, where I'll refer my listeners to Docty for the card advice, because I mean, the analytics of the cards and seeing what others don't necessarily see. It's almost like you're seeing in different dimensions sometimes the value of the cards. Again, very, very easy to listen to, and very easy listening to your explanations of all the cards and stuff like that. So man, and I enjoy having you on the show as well. So yeah, Docty's awesome.
I recently got the opportunity. I got the pleasure of meeting Docty in Tampa.
Yes, sir.
And one of the really cool things is sometimes whenever you see people that are, have content or shows, or you listen to, they may just be having like a personality. Like that may be a personality they're taking under while they're on a show. And I can tell all of you from experience that Docty is the nicest person, just like he is the personality that you are hearing in any podcast that he's on or on his shows. He is genuine. He's a pleasure to be around.
Like a
so
bovine.
Smart. Yeah, just a very smart, intelligent individual. It was just so nice meeting you. It was really cool. I didn't realize that that you were just like the same person. Because I won't say that everybody in Tampa was not the same person, but definitely like whenever I met you, I was like it was the same person I'm used to hearing.
So as soon as this podcast is over, I'm making Gunny tell me everyone who is not who they see, because I wasn't at SnapCon. So
he's gonna be like, "Oh, that guy Tuccrr was a real jerk."
If there's one person I'm pretty damn sure is not a
Tuccrr
jerk,
Tuccrr is the nicest guy at SnapCon. Yeah.
I mean, so like I guess Tucker's a great example, right? I would expect to hear Arg and Pirate more. But I don't.
Tuccrr,
and he's also like 7 feet tall.
Well, no, Tuccrr and Roby were the only people that have ever like shocked me on the podcast, because the first time they were on, they were together.
Yeah.
And Tucker's like super bombastic in like his streaming, right? And Tuccrr was so chill and laid back.
That's what I mean, right?
And
so like
Roby is super high on his streams, and he like couldn't shut the fuck up when he came on the pod, and I was like, I'm so confused. You're like reverse personalities.
That's how Tuccrr is on big group chats or video stuff. Tucker's actually pretty calm. He's very calm at first. He's very friendly and lively. Like, he can energetically talk about things to be passionate, but he actually has a very calm nature. He's a gentle giant. A lot of people don't realize. He's like the nicest guy.
Like, some people are just a little bit different on stream. It's a personality.
They who chooses violence.
If it's sometimes people just take on like a personality whenever they're streaming or making a video. And Docty's he's not. He's just nice, genuine, and very, very intelligent.
And I want to say that GunnyT was the most handsome guy at SnapCon.
Nice.
There you go.
I wore a Hawaiian shirt every single day.
Yes, but like Woody's whole group was there, and they're all 16 years old, so it's not fair. It's like Gunny was an adult, so you got an advantage.
Oh, that was so much work in Tampa. I worked my butt off.
Gunny put in work. He was working the whole time.
I heard.
On the turnies.
That probably means that next year when I get to go, I'll be the oldest one in the entire room, I'll bet.
Yeah, but you and I can just get a scotch and avoid everyone else.
There you go. Yeah, that's
But if you two show up, then I don't get to be the most handsome person at SnapCon.
Oh,
anymore.
yeah.
man.
Well, yeah, that's definitely something someone's ever said about me.
That's funny. That's all good stuff. I appreciate each and every one of you.
Mm,
All right, Aaron, take us out.
okay, I get to list a bunch of names really fast on the Patreon. I do this slowly sometimes on the videos, although not lately since work has started. So let's go and see if I can do this in one breath. Thank you to Abby Lisa, Matt Herberto, Cables, Matt H, Irregardless, David G. Wingfield, Direwolf, LAB, FaThorNewman, Good Dog Gamer, Deus Vault, Inc. I am Frostman, Jane Everett. This is an older version of this. Corbin, Prime Ryan, Caretixley, Koi Ray, Pyrofrost, The Goat Seeker, Demon Falcon, Quid Pro Joe, Docty, hey Docty, Fat Nick, Ginger Prime, Philip Rakovich, Haplo, Kenny Loggins of the James Rob, Soapman, The Biz, Exorcy, and Skippy G, Tommy Nyquist, the King of Bros, Black Jolly, The Great Kazoo, Jessica Gamble, Ryan Wood, Kepsi Yoda, Luna Chris, Quantum Quinn, John Q, Clam 8 Sage, Mod Supreme Models, who literally finds new ways to save my ass every single motherfucking day, Darth Hater, Rema Satala, we miss you, Rema. Hopefully you're still watching. Brian Kaufman, Tristan H. Martin, Jason B, JD McDonaldino, The Fuzzy Dunlop, Spectrum X, Oot, Matt H, DJ, Mikey, Hijinks, No Frickin' Flex, Oculars, Greg Story, Seamus, who's catching up on videos, hey Seamus, Jonesy, Two Ties, The Great Lauren Devs, The Parry King Tuccrr, The Homie Min, and of course GunnyT, where the T stands for... Anyone got something?
This podcast is over.
All right. That's
good. That's what it stands for.
Docty, thanks for joining us, as always.
Thank you very much. I'm always glad to be here. Always grateful for the opportunity.
Joe, thank you for being here and for having the most punerific name in the world.
Oh, yes. Yeah, thanks for having me. I appreciate it. It's great being on. Loved it.
We love having you on. And, of course, Gunny, as always, my friend.
I'll be seeing you again shortly.
Peace and love, everybody.